can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. And now, WIS-TV traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
Hey, one last look at your traffic and weather for your ride in on this Monday morning. A couple accidents to report. One at Bowen Street near Bookman Road. Gadsden near Richland Street. I-77 southbound Forest Drive. Leesburg and Fairmont. And then Mount Pilgrim Church Road and Highway 76. Rain off and on today with a high of just 51 degrees. Tomorrow the sunshine does return with a high of 74. And then Wednesday, high of 80 with plenty of sunshine as well. Traffic and weather on the early game.
Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on 107.5 The Game app.
9 o'clock on your Monday morning. Welcome in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Ed and Jack Beltry. Boy, what a weekend. A lot to talk about. Obviously headlined by women's basketball winning another SEC women's tournament. You know, this being the 9th for Dawn Staley, 3rd in a row, it's almost like, not that it's not a big deal, but it's just kind of like, yeah, that's kind of what they're supposed to do.
It's like a footnote in just everything she's already accomplished. Like, this is nothing on the level of, like, national championships or other big awards throughout her career. But obviously, winning the 9th SEC title and make it now 3 in a row for South Carolina, it's very impressive what she's been able to do, along with this group in general.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, okay, let's say they only made it to the Final Four, got bounced by Southern Cal or UCLA, and didn't make the national championship. People look at this fan base look at this season and say, "Well, it's a disappointment. It's failure because they didn't win a national championship." When you had a almost unblemished conference record once again, save for one loss, which you avenged on Sunday. You won the SEC championship, dominated all 3 of these games, by the way. And it's just that's the standard that this program gets held to, that even winning the conference tournament, in addition to having at least a share of the regular season title, that's step one. You've got bigger fish to fry when it comes to the month of March.
Yeah, and look, winning the tournament here is great just because now they are definitely going to be, they got to be a 1 seed going into the NCAA tournament. But, that gives them the opportunity to potentially host games at home and all that, and then go from there. But, yeah, you're right, man. Like, there are bigger fish to fry, and this means nothing if you get bounced in, I don't think they're going to get bounced in the first 2 rounds, but you go to the Sweet 16, you need to keep advancing from there. So, the standard here at South Carolina is championships, and getting to the top is the goal. You got there last year. Try to do it again now.
We'll dive into everything that happened yesterday up the road in Greenville in just a moment, but it is 9 o'clock. It's time for our Sandstorm Pick-Me-Up.
Storm. Sponsored by George Sink Injury Lawyers. Just call all 9s.
It's time for your 9 a.m. Sandstorm Pick-Me-Up, brought to you by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you've been hurt in the car or at work, call George Sink now at 803-ALL-9s. Yesterday afternoon, up the road in Greenville at the Bon Scores Wellness Arena, it was South Carolina picking up the 64-45 win over Texas in the championship of the SEC Women's Tournament to claim that crown for the third year in a row and the ninth time in Don Staley's tenure here at South Carolina, and take the rubber match of a team that you beat here at Colonial Life Arena back in early January, a team that beat you on Super Bowl Sunday a month ago, and then again, we wanted to see what happened the third time, and again, South Carolina thoroughly dominates this one in all four quarters yesterday.
They won this game simply on the fact of just fantastic defense. They played very well defensively throughout this game, holding Texas to 45 points and keeping players like Madison Booker in check. That was, I think, a really big deal in this game, that matchup between Bree Hall and Booker, where, Hall held Booker to 10 points on 4-13 shooting over 36 minutes, and that's a big deal right there. And I know there was a little bit of drama there between them, reading some post-game stories and stuff. But that's besides the point. Very good effort by this defense, and anytime you can hold a team to 30% shooting from the floor, 13% from three, turning the ball over nearly 20 times, that's a really good effort there by South Carolina.
These stats are via Chris Wellbaum of Gamecock Central. South Carolina set the game record for the championship game record for the fewest points allowed in 45, fewest points and a half in 16, fewest field goals made in 16, and fourth lowest field goal percentage allowed at 29.6. I've used the term defensive masterclass to describe this game because that's exactly what it was, very much akin to what happened here in Columbia back in early January, where South Carolina just stifled Texas for four quarters. They took a ton of shots but couldn't make any of them. Madison Booker was rendered pretty ineffective in that game, and that was kind of the blueprint they used yesterday as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. That is what worked honestly, a few months ago now when they beat this team in Columbia. And I know they lost the game in Austin, but the two main games where South Carolina has had, it's been in their home state, let's just say that, they've utterly dominated Texas. And this is, this is not like some random thing. Like, Texas is the top team in the country in the AP poll coming into this game, and South Carolina just flat out dominated from start to finish in this game. And it's very impressive what they were able to do. And it's also kind of shocking that it happened again to where Texas just didn't really seem to belong on the same court that South Carolina was playing on.
Yeah, again, just dominance on on all fronts. Chloe Kitts takes home the MVP of the tournament, 15 points yesterday, 9 rebounds, just shy of getting another double-double there. Tessa Johnson with 14 points. We obviously know she plays extremely well in these tournament type of environments. A little bit of a quieter day for Joyce Edwards and Malaysia Fulwiley, combining for 16 points, but they obviously made plenty of impact in the Vanderbilt and Oklahoma games as well. And again, just an overall all-team effort for South Carolina, which has kind of been the story of this team for this year, where you have certain games where one player steps up or another, but it's not been one player consistently dominating for this team or being head and shoulders better than everybody else. It's been a sum of all their parts. And again, when you see what they did over the course of 3 days, that all came together once again for 3 dominant wins.
It's a collective effort. What more can you say? That's why you get, I know you won it all, but that's why you get 3 players on the all-tournament team, and you have Chloe Kitts going on, playing some of her best basketball over these last 2 weeks and just winning the MVP award for the whole thing. And she's been phenomenal lately. But again, you're right. It is a collective effort because you have Sanaya Fagan going for 11 points, Chloe Kitts going for 15, Tessa Johnson going for 14, Joyce Edwards for 11. And this came on a day where Malaysia Fulwiley didn't have a great shooting day. Tahina Paupau didn't have the great shooting day either, so others were able to step up. But that's the thing about the South Carolina team. Like you said, it can be just about anyone's night. Yeah,
and it absolutely was. And again, it's kind of expected to win these kind of games now as they'll get set for the NCAA tournament coming up here in a little under 2 weeks' time. They get a little bit of time to rest and obviously celebrate this win a little bit before they find out who they're going to be taking on in those first couple rounds, and obviously in pursuit of yet another national championship. And what's been just a up and I don't want to say up and down because there haven't been a lot of downs, but definitely a regular season that has had more obviously losses than they had in the past couple of years combined, but a lot more questions than we've had in years past. But it seems like they're playing their best basketball right now.
Yeah, no, they definitely are, and that's what you want going into NCAA tournament play here. And you're gonna have a little bit of time off now. I heard Dawn saying that they're gonna have 4 days off, and the girls were definitely going crazy, really excited. So they'll have some time off here to kind of relax, get back to work a little bit here soon, and get ready for hopefully another deep tournament run in their minds. But yeah, no, you're right. Like, it is nice to see them playing this level of basketball. I mean, beating a team like Texas, beating them by nearly 20 points is going to do wonders for your confidence moving forward, that you can go out here and play like that against any team. You do that, what you did to Texas, it's going to be hard for any team to beat you.
Yeah, and when you look at the latest bracketology, which Charlie Cream put out, I believe, last night, pretty late last night, about 9:45. It does have South Carolina as the top overall seed. Texas was in that spot prior to yesterday's matchup. They're still number one seed. Moved to the other side of the Birmingham regional there. UCLA and Southern Cal, no surprise, they played for the Big Ten title there. The one and the other number one seeds there as well. Things shifting a little bit there. UConn had previously been the number two in South Carolina's region, but with South Carolina moving up to the number one overall seed, they will now have TCU, a team that they also had beaten in the regular season, as their number two seed on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out with seeding and all this different stuff. I think we'll talk about more in depth on South Carolina and where they fit into all of this, but there's a lot of good competition right now at the top of the totem pole in women's college basketball. And I think we can honestly say, like, when South Carolina is at their best, though, like they have been lately, it's tough to beat them. And I know there have been teams, UCLA, UConn notably, blew them out here in Columbia not too long ago. I know there are teams that have beat them, but put these teams on a neutral court like we saw yesterday or just this weekend in general. I think South Carolina can just go toe-to-toe with anyone.
Yeah. Was Greenville a neutral court, though?
I mean, in the technical sense, yes. But hey, look, here's my logic on it, or my thought process on it. South Carolina fans are going to show up in general, right?
Sure.
Like, if they get sent to Spokane, Washington here in a few weeks randomly, which I don't think would happen.
I'm glad that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
They would travel, but that's a lot.
But hypothetically, if they in an alternate reality were sent there, fans would travel. So
sure.
It's not so much that. It's just it happened.
We'll let you hear a little bit of what Vic Schaefer had to say prior to yesterday's matchup, as well as Dawn Staley and what she thinks about this game being in Greenville, this tournament being in Greenville, and how advantageous that is for South Carolina. Of course, plenty of things going on here this week. We'll actually have Carolina Calls with Dawn Staley coming up tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Her and Brad Muller over at Backstreet's Grill, as they can obviously recap everything that happened in the tournament over the weekend, start looking ahead to what the NCAA tournament's going to be. Of course, Selection Sunday coming up at the end of this week, where we'll ultimately find out who the teams are going to be taking on are. But again, it seems like they're going to be the number one overall seed heading into the tournament. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Beltry along with you on your Monday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network, powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass, shepherdsglass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Glass. 107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Tyler Ed here for our friends over at Twin Peaks. We're talking a lot of basketball right now as we are in the month of March, and that means those tournaments are just a couple of days away. And with conference championships wrapping up on the women's side of things and the men's side getting rolling as this week goes along, now it's time to register for the Dos Million Dollar Bracket Challenge. You can sign up at TwinPeaksBracketChallenge.com, then fill out your bracket before the tournament tips off on March 20th. You can enter for your chance to win $2 million and more epic prizes, including a $50 gift card to the top bracket at each and every lodge. And while the tournaments are going on, you know there's no better place to park yourself with TVs as far as the eye can see, tons of amazing food, and of course those 29-degree draft beers. Take in all of the great basketball action that the month of March has to offer with our friends at Twin Peaks down in the Vista.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Messaging data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Honey!
What's wrong? I thought you already left for work.
The garage door is broken. It won't open and I can't get my car out. I can't miss this meeting today. Everyone is coming in for it.
Relax. I'm texting OGD right now.
What is OGD?
OGD, Overhead Garage Door. They're the garage door experts in Columbia. Take my car in the driveway and OGD will handle the garage. They have same-day service and they'll get the garage door fixed today, fast and easy.
Wait, with just one text, you can get our garage door fixed same day by OGD?
Yes, OGD will get it done, no problem. Now, you need to get to work and let OGD worry about the garage door.
Garage door broken, stuck, slow, or squeaky? Text OGD, the only name you need for your garage door. Text TIGHT to 200-300 right now. Text right now and get an exclusive link to special limited time savings. Don't wait. Text the word TIGHT to 200-300 now. Text TIGHT to 200-300.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where the inventory's overflowing and the deals are in full bloom. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us. And we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Currently car shopping? State Credit Union now has auto loan rates as low as 4.25% APR. Plus, you'll have no car payment for up to 90 days. Visit one of State Credit Union's 19 full-service branches or their website, scscu.com. That's scscu.com and apply online for your new car loan today. That's scscu.com. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Federally insured by the NCUA. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Glass.
Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a home game, obviously. There'll be a great crowd tomorrow, and it'll be a great environment, for college basketball. There'll be a lot of people hollering for them. But we've got a great Longhorn contingent here. I'm really proud of our fans that have traveled. And but it is, I think more than that, that's certainly a part of it. But you're playing a great team.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Belcher along with you here on your Monday on the Game, reacting to the South Carolina women claiming another SEC women's tournament crowned 64-45 over Texas yesterday. That was the voice of Vic Schaefer, head coach of the Texas Longhorns, one that fans here are very familiar with, obviously going back to his time in Mississippi State, where he made that championship game several times, was never able to beat Dawn Staley in the process of doing that. But that was him Saturday after they defeated LSU in the semifinals, talking about the advantage that South Carolina had in playing this game just a couple of hours up the road from their home base here in Columbia. According to Elijah, it seemed like it was about an 85, maybe 15-ish split. And like Vic Schaefer said, there were obviously a lot of Texas fans there. But again, the fans travel, and they certainly did once again over the weekend.
Yeah, it's easier for South Carolina fans to travel to Greenville, which is from Columbia here, only about a 2-hour ride, give and take. Yeah, so it's a quick drive for a lot of people here. And even Elijah was saying, in his post-game recap video that there were he was surprised that there were a lot of Texas fans there, more than he anticipated. And Vic's right, obviously they'll travel too because they're just such a widespread fan base across the country. But it's tough to beat fans in their home state, man. Like I think this is why I said before, if they got sent to the other side of the country, they got sent to Washington or to Tampa or wherever they got to go for this tournament this year, maybe ending up in Tampa for the Final Four, they're going to pack it out. And that is just regardless, because people are crazy about this team, about what they've done. So it's almost like it's almost like the Yankees or something, or the Dodgers or a team like that, or the Lakers. This is the version of that where these fans will travel anywhere in the country. And so to make that as an excuse, I understand it. It is basically a home game for South Carolina, but you still got to go out there and play and win.
Let's hear what Dawn Staley had to say yesterday after the championship game on if she thinks that Greenville is advantageous for her team.
I'm going to be real. Like, it isn't advantageous for us, okay? I will say this. I mean, everybody has an opportunity to buy a ticket. They do. If this was played, I don't know, in Mississippi, right? Our fans are still coming. They're coming to wherever we are. We build up, an incredible fan base that travels. Our fans were in Paris last year when we opened the season. Our fans were in Vegas when we opened the season this year. So wherever we are, they're going to travel. I think this location is great. If we're not here, another conference will be here. So, and I think we need to consider the fans too. I mean, it's a great city. Like, it's a great city. There's so much to do. There's so much architecture. There's so many great restaurants. There's so many walking paths. There's so much to do, and I think about that as well. I also think about there's a lot of people in the gym today, and that's an indicator of where women's basketball is.
And she brings up a good point. It doesn't really matter where this thing's going to get played. You're going to have a strong contingent of South Carolina fans because guess what? They're the best team in the league. It just happens to be that they're a pretty short drive there. And I don't know if that was the end-all, be-all of what made the difference. Now, yes, when you look at South Carolina winning the game at home here in January, obviously Texas winning the game in Austin back in February, you say, okay, well, home field advantage did play into both those games to some degree. But I just think that South Carolina really learned its lesson from what happened a month ago and went out there and packed the paint, took Madison Booker away, and just played a more physical game than Texas did, regardless of how many South Carolina fans were in attendance or not.
Yeah, if the fans are what makes the difference between winning and losing, which obviously it didn't really seem to make too much of a difference in this type of game just because South Carolina won by 19 points, then, I think it's more so just an excuse than anything for Vic. But I do think, look, South Carolina, like you said, the fans are going to travel wherever. And guess what? This game in Greenville, this tournament is not going away anytime soon because I believe the contract is for the next 3 years to play it at Bon Scores Wellness Arena.
Yep.
So, look, it's Texas, if you didn't want to deal with this, you should have stayed in the Big 12, I guess, right?
And look, I don't take it as Vic Schaefer belly aching too much about it. Again, he said, hey, look, it's a close game. We're going to have some fans here as well, but they're going to have more. Like, I think he was a little more matter of fact about it. I'll take Vic Schaefer talking about Greenville being a home field advantage over, Kenny Brooks or Kim Mulkey, talking about South Carolina's McDonald's All-Americans. Well, we just can't compete because there's so many talented players like Vic Schaefer. And he said it at the end of that clip I played a few minutes ago. Look, we're just taking on a really talented team. Regardless of who's in the stands, that is one of the best teams in the entire country.
Yeah, that's a much better way to put it rather than Kim Mulkey sitting in front of the South Carolina media contingent with some LSU folks in Columbia talking about how, she can't compete with, South Carolina having double-digit All-Americans.
Because she just never has any of those, right?
No. It's not like she doesn't have Lajay Johnson or Angel Reese or any player, Anissa Morrow, any players like that. It's not like she has good talent just everywhere, too, and won a national championship. But, yeah, look, South Carolina is the standard for women's basketball right now, and they have been for the last, almost decade at this point, ever since they won their first title back in 2017. But this is a very good team. They're going to be tough to beat, and they're going to be showing up everywhere South Carolina goes at this point on. They'll have the first 2 games at CLA and then go from there wherever they're sent, Birmingham, and then probably Tampa after that. They're going to be there.
And there's a possibility that South Carolina and Texas could see each other in the Final Four if this does end up being the bracket that Charlie Cream put out last night, where Texas would be on the other side of the region in Birmingham, where, again, they meet in the Final Four with the opportunity to play, if everything works out the way that they would want it to play for the opportunity to go and play for the national championship coming up here in about a month's time. Kind of talking about LSU and Kim Mulkey there. Again, they had the opportunity coming up short in the semifinals there to Texas. I think this has kind of jumped in line as South Carolina's #1 rivalry in the SEC now. Again, LSU, there was certainly the grittiness and the emotion to the games these past couple of years, but LSU hasn't won. LSU's not beaten South Carolina in a very long time. They've not done it since Kim Mulkey's been here. To have a true rivalry, you have to have both teams kind of going back and forth. And now South Carolina having won the rubber match on Sunday with an opportunity potentially to see each other for a 4th time, I think this takes the pole position as the premier rivalry in the SEC now.
I think it does, and also given the fact that, and we call it a rivalry between Dawn and Vic, although Dawn
they have a history.
Yeah, they have a history. But Dawn has also beaten Vic, she's 7-0 in championship games against him all time, which doesn't really scream big rivalry. But given the fact that now Texas is in the SEC, Vic's been there for a little bit now, and they get to play, hopefully twice a year like they did this year, that screams rivalry, especially when the games were super, super close and, sure, not super, super close, but competitive, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Especially the middle game there. So I really like it. And if they were able to meet for a 4th time, I think you could really start saying, people are, if the ratings speak for themselves, if people are tuning in, wanting to watch these 2 teams go against each other, then yes, I think it is a genuine rivalry.
We could legitimately, if this ends up being chalk, have 2 Final Four games with teams playing each other for the 4th time. So South Carolina and Texas is the #1 seeds in the Birmingham side of things, and then UCLA and Southern Cal as the #1 seeds on the Spokane side, where they played each yesterday for the Big Ten Championship after squaring off twice in the regular season. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but we could have 2 4-time rematches with the 4 teams in the Final Four.
And, with March Madness and stuff, especially on the men's side, it's so tough to see all 4 #1 seeds make it to the Final Four. That usually just does not happen too frequently. But with the women's side and just how good these teams are this year, it's hard not to see them all making it there and setting up for some really good basketball in the Final Four.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. And you have to tip your cap to Vic Schaefer in Texas. And look, that's been a big good program for the past handful of years, but coming into a new conference and putting yourself in position to be at the very top of it right away is certainly not easy with some of these other tough teams like LSU and Kentucky and the likes of that make it a challenge. But they came in and they put their best foot forward, but unfortunately they were just a little bit not good enough to beat South Carolina in 2 out of 3 matchups they've had so far. And again, we'll see if they can navigate their way through their side of the bracket, if these two teams will end up seeing each other in Tampa in about a month.
Yeah, don't forget they also lost the coin flip. So
they did also, so
3-1 technically.
That's the third win for South Carolina.
Yeah, but no coin flip necessary yesterday. So
no, not at all. And look, as silly as the coin flip was, gave South Carolina a couple extra hours of rest. I mean, look, they ended their game Saturday late afternoon. Texas played until about 9 o'clock on Saturday night, and again had to turn around and play at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So I do think that's worth something. So again, as much as I thought it was silly that it came down to a coin flip, it did help South Carolina that they won, and hopefully we can come up with a better blade to determine the number 1 overall seed going forward.
Yeah, that'll be a discussion for a later date. But yeah, good to see South Carolina winning another SEC championship and taking that momentum moving forward.
Again, they will look to the NCAA tournament coming up here in a little over a week's time. Selection Sunday coming up on Sundays. They'll find out their exact seeding destination, who they'll be taking on in those first couple of rounds. Of course, we'll be here at Colonial Life Arena if South Carolina is indeed hosting, which we do expect them to do. Another busy weekend out at Founders Park as well, with Gamecock baseball taking care of Morehead State. We'll dive into what happened with that. Coming up next, it is The Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Beltry along with you on your Monday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
They're here. You can see them. Weeds. Hi, this is Paul Romenstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. It's not too late to get the beautiful lawn that you want. Sign up for our Midlands Green Treatment Program today and let our experts help you with fertilization, weed control, and everything it takes to get you a green, lush lawn. Are you ready? Give us a try at hateweeds.com. hateweeds.com.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
10 years ago, who could have predicted what the internet would bring? Streaming videos, voice assistants, smartphones, smart homes, work from home. But here we are, wondering what the next 10 years will bring. Whatever it brings, Lumos 100% fiber optic internet is ready with incredible speeds and reliability. So you can do more and be more than you ever thought possible on the internet built for the future. Plans start at $50 per month. Learn more at lumosfiber.com/next.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey. What? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
There are lots of reasons to get excited for spring. Warmer weather, get-togethers, and now new spring arrivals from your favorite brands at Macy's. Even more exciting, refresh your beauty routine at our Buy More, Save More event. Pick up new skincare, makeup, and fragrances from Estee Lauder, Valentino, MAC, and more. And save $30 with every $150 you spend. The more you spend, the more you save. Don't wait. Beauty deals this good won't last long. Hurry into Macy's today. Savings off regular price beauty and fragrance. Exclusions apply.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get zero down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by Pioneer Farm Equipment in Orangeburg, 1 mile off of I-26 exit 154B, or at PioneerFarmSC.com. Shepherd's Glass has provided commercial, residential, and auto glass installation, repair, and replacement to Columbia for over 50 years. Large retail storefronts, auto, custom shower enclosures, and mirrors for that remodeling or new construction project. Visit shepherdsglass.com to see and learn more. Now with 2 locations on Platte Springs Road in West Columbia and Chapin at 855 Chapin Road. shepherdsglass.com.
Shepherd's Glass, Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
Kickstart your day at 9 a.m. with your Carolina Pick-Me-Up, sponsored by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you're injured, call all 9s today.
Get George Sink Law Firm on the line. Call 999-9999.
What You're Talking About, sponsored by Love Chevrolet on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Obviously, if you dwell on the positives, it was unbelievable pitching for us. If you dwell on the negatives, we didn't swing the bats very well at all today. But, we found a way to win the close one, and at the end of the day, this guy sitting next to me, Tyler Pitzer, rose to the occasion, gave us a chance to win. Sweeney made it interesting, as he typically does, but then got the last out before they tied the game, which is what closers are supposed to do. So we won the ball game, and we're going to go ahead and take it home and before somebody can take it away from us.
Welcome back in. It is The Extra Point. Tyler Ed and Jack Veltri along with you here on your Monday. Of course, that's the voice of Paul Maneri reacting to what happened over the weekend with South Carolina baseball, taking all 3 against Morehead State to move to the end of non-conference series. They get set for Oklahoma coming up this weekend, but it was definitely an interesting weekend because you had 2 offensive explosions on Friday and Saturday, and then you had a good old pitcher's duel yesterday, 1-0 win for South Carolina to wrap up the weekend series.
Yeah, very, very weird weekend where every game was really different. Like you said yesterday, pitcher's duel. Saturday, big run-scoring game. Friday, you could argue was a big run-scoring game, but honestly, it was more so a late-inning rally where South Carolina came back to win the game after trailing in the 8th inning. So a lot of different things happened this weekend, but yeah, look, I think it's definitely a good weekend for South Carolina just because they swept the series. They did what they're supposed to do. Wasn't always the prettiest, but hey, it's not like Morehead State is some bad team by any means. They have some really good players on their team. Like their Sunday starter yesterday, really filthy on the mound. They have some good hitters in that lineup with Gurman and Thomas specifically, and they shut Thomas down, but Gurman, very good hitter. So
I was going to say, Gurman's that name kind of got sick of hearing as the weekend went along because it seemed like every time he went up there made something happen.
And it's not even what he did at the plate. I mean, he hit, I think, 2 homers this weekend. He robbed a couple of hits in the outfield yesterday. He's the left fielder, too, that made those fantastic plays out there on Saturday and Sunday. So, again, not a bad team by any means like people might think, but, hey, it's a good challenge for South Carolina with SEC play starting later this week.
Yeah, look, Gurman's one of those guys that very likely could get picked up by a Power 4 conference team next year if he continues to play like that and they continue to have a good season rolling forward. One thing that is a concern going back to Friday's game, and we'll rewind even a week further back to the Clemson series where Becker got the start on Friday, issued a ton of walks, just never really had command in that game, and you kind of saw the same thing on Friday night. Not necessarily in the walks category, as he only had one of those, but he only made it through an inning and 2/3. He just could not find a handle on things on Friday night.
It's just interesting because he had the good first inning where he retired the side in order, no problem, looked fine out there. And then that second inning, just everything fell apart to where he could only get 2 outs in the inning before Mainieri came and took him out of the game. And I think it's more so just some tough luck compared to anything, where there were a few balls, hit weirdly, and that's baseball sometimes, right? And he ran into some trouble for sure, and the walks really weren't the issue there, but it was just Morehead State was really hitting him well and, getting the runs across against him. And it made sense at the time when Mainieri took him out because you have Hunter Thomas coming up, who's their best hitter, statistically speaking, coming into the Friday game with 7 homers and 25 RBIs. And if he goes deep there, if he takes Becker deep, which was Mainieri's concern, it's a much wider gap than a 4-0 game in the early innings. So you still feel like you can come back, and that's why they brought Stone in. But, yeah, it's definitely concerning that Becker only made it into the second inning before getting taken out.
Yeah, and you worry about confidence with those kind of things because, look, pitchers are head cases. There's no secrets about that. And you just hope that he's in a good frame of mind because he is going to be counted on once again this weekend, taking on Oklahoma. Brandon Stone came in, and for the most part, through a very consistent 5 1/3 innings. Things kind of got away from him a little bit there in the top of the 8th. It wasn't helped by Scobie having the error. They allowed one of those guys to get on base, hit a guy, walked a guy, and suddenly the bases were loaded. And then they drove in a couple runs there before Pitzer came in and kind of shut things down to close things out. Because, again, we just keep talking about how good this bullpen is, and we saw that once again this weekend as well.
Yeah, the bullpen was definitely the bright spot. Outside, I think, of, honestly, there was probably one bullpen appearance when you think about it that just wasn't good, and it was Ashton Crowther on Saturday coming in after Jake McCoy. But other than that, like Zach Russell, Parker Marlott, Pitzer twice this weekend, Sweeney yesterday, Jackson Soucy coming out of relief for a short start from Dylan Eskew. The bullpen, Brandon Stone too, coming out of relief. The bullpen was just really solid this weekend overall. And outside of a few tough situations where maybe a run or two was scored, I think they did their job, especially yesterday, having to escape 2 base-loaded jams. Very impressive, and that was honestly the difference in South Carolina winning that 1-0 game yesterday.
The numbers on Saturday in the 16-11 win, not the most favorable when it comes to McCoy. 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. And Mainieri talked about this after the game on Saturday as well as yesterday. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Carolina just had this explosive bottom of the 3rd inning, which took like 45 minutes to play, and McCoy got cold during that time. Now, Mainieri did say he offered, hey, you go out there and toss a little bit, keep that arm loose, and McCoy opted not to do that, being lazy. Those are Mainieri's words there. And they came out and struggled in the top of the 4th. Crowther also couldn't really get a handle on things when he came in, but once you got Russell and Marlott in there, they were able to lock things down for the end of that game.
It's definitely a nice learning lesson for a young pitcher like Jake because this is his first year starting in the SEC. And Mainieri's mentioned it before. This is a guy with Friday night potential here that I think very well could be your ace on the staff moving forward. And I don't look too deep into this one outing because, he pitched very well through the first 3 innings, only giving up the 1 hit or the 1 run, which is the home run in the early innings. But other than that, look, the 4th inning, I would put more like an asterisk next to it in my thought process just because, like you said, context matters. And the fact that South Carolina nearly had 40 minutes with that 7-run inning, that's a lot of time off for a pitcher. At the same time, Jake definitely should have taken some time to throw there, keep the arm loose. And, it is a little lazy, to be honest. And that's something that I don't think is going to be happening again. And I think Mainieri will probably, if Jake didn't want to do it, probably nudge him a little bit more to do it.
These are the lessons you're supposed to learn in the non-conference play.
Exactly.
There's a reason why you have a month worth of these games to build up to playing in the SEC, to learn these exact type of lessons. And again, McCoy probably didn't think anything of it. Like, I'm good. I'm worn. I've done well through these first couple of innings. But you go out there and obviously see that that's not the case. So, yeah, that's hopefully something you can take as a learning lesson going forward.
Yeah, because, look, Morehead State is a good lineup you're facing, and they obviously scored some runs this weekend outside of yesterday. But, like, SEC play, you're going to be facing tough competition every single start that you make. So it's imperative to take advantage of every opportunity that you can, because if you have something like this where South Carolina is scoring and they're just having these long innings, you're gonna be out for a little bit here, and then you're coming back out to the mound, and you haven't pitched in 30-plus minutes.
Well, nobody got a chance to be cold yesterday. Again, a pitcher's duel. I think both sides' bats were just exhausted from all the runs and the hits on Friday and Saturday. And Maneri even said maybe they took too much BP before the game yesterday. Hall ends up driving in the only run on the RBI yesterday. But, that one was a pretty easy one to watch yesterday with so many quick outs in that one.
Yeah, I don't even take so much stock into the fact that South Carolina only scored 1 run. I'm not concerned. This is the same lineup that the 2 previous games had 11 runs and 16 runs. So they're swinging the bats pretty good right now. We'll see what they do on Wednesday before Oklahoma comes to town. But I'm feeling pretty good about this lineup right now, and I like what they're doing. Yesterday was just they faced a guy with a good sinker, slider pitch off speed, and that's tough to hit when that guy was on a roll, and the guy got to tip your cap. They faced some good pitching yesterday.
Well, in case you missed it, in game number 2, Evan Stone with a grand slam for South Carolina. And if you've registered for the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway, you could be in line to collect $275 tomorrow morning when a winner will be drawn on the air with Bill and Preston on the early game. And again, the pot now resets $25 starting with Wednesday's game against Georgia State. It will continue to grow until another South Carolina batter can hit a grand slam. So go online to 1075thegame.com and register if you've not already for the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. And you and I were talking about this yesterday. I wonder if 2 grand slams in the first 16 games is a program record. I have to do some digging on that.
Yeah. You know what I saw? Not South Carolina, but I saw Tennessee has like 8 grand slams through like 16 games. It's
not surprising.
Unreal, that Little League ballpark they have out there in Knoxville.
Definitely a hitter's park out there that lends itself to those kind of things. But again, congratulations to Evan Stone and whoever ends up winning tomorrow morning's Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. We'll hear more from Paul Maneri coming up next as we wrap up hour number 1 of the Extra Point. Tyler and Jack along with you on your Monday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
I'm Jordy Mack with a Sports Minute. The Philadelphia Eagles have been living large since their dominating win over the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year, but their first toll of winning a chip may be coming due this week for the Birds. Although they've re-signed first-team All-Pro linebacker Zach Bourne, 3 other free agents, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, and Mekhi Becton, all top 15 rated free agents this year, heading into getting paid. I'm Jordy Mack.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Oh, that's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
GCTH/sports. Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/news. That's ethos.com/news.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/news. That's ethos.com/news.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
We've been blessed to serve the Midlands glass needs for 20 years.
We have been fortunate enough to help thousands of customers with the best glass service in town, in our store, and all over the Midlands.
Sure, we can fix your windshield, usually at no cost to you.
But at Absolute Glass, we can also care for all your other glass needs, too.
Home windows, shower doors, tabletops, shelving, storefronts, and all your commercial needs.
Contact us at 803-951-7200 or at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
Hey Gamecocks, Ben Cato, third generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment, with some great news for anyone looking to add some new lawn equipment to their garage or trailer. Just in time for spring, we've got awesome financing options that let you spread your steel, Toro, or Gravely equipment purchase out over 3, 4, or even 5 years with no interest. For any budget, any yard, Cato's Power Equipment has the best equipment around, with top-notch service to back it up. Come shop our huge selection of zero turns today.
Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Well, the thumb is feeling better. I mean, he still has the fracture in there, and there's going to be days when it's really sore. It was all swollen. He couldn't even grip a bat. That's why he missed 5 games. But it's progressively gotten better every day, and today was the best it's felt. Yet he took batting practice yesterday. We were going to wait until Wednesday, but it was ahead of schedule as far as how good he felt. And the trainer left it up to him. The doctors have left it up to him. I preferred that he get 2 games before we open up the SEC schedule. It's a hard game to play if you don't play it more, if you don't play it frequently, it's really difficult. So I thought getting 2 games in would be good for him before we played Oklahoma, if he was capable of doing it.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Belcher along with you here on the game. That was Paul Maneri yesterday talking about Talmadge LeCroy returning to the starting lineup at catcher. Of course, a spot that's been riddled with injuries early on this season. Of course, Braylon with the knee injury the other day in the game against Citadel. Obviously, Talmadge LeCroy has been banged up for a while. Good to see him return to the lineup yesterday. Obviously, it doesn't sound like he's still at 100%, but well enough to play in addition to what you have with Bakes and Coffer. And hopefully, knock on wood, we don't have any more injuries going forward.
Yeah, I was a little shocked yesterday to see him put in the starting lineup when South Carolina posted it on their social media and stuff, just because Paul Maneri did say going into the weekend that Talmadge wasn't going to be available at all this weekend. And I'm like, all right, well, they're going to have 2 catchers this weekend. Hopefully, I mean, we were having discussions, you and I, of like, all right, who's the emergency catcher going to be? But it's good to see Tal get back out there, and he didn't do much yesterday. He walked. That was really it. He scored a run. That was the difference in the game. I will say, though, behind the plate, I thought his pitch framing looked fine. It's just the one concern I guess I had, and I didn't get a chance to ask Paul about it yesterday, but he had 3 throwdowns to second base on stolen base attempts by Morehead State. Every throw he made, it was a good throw, but it always veered to the left. It was always on the other side of the bag where Jordan Carrion's standing on the bag, and he's got to bring his glove from his right side all the way to the other side of the bag to make the tag. And that's not necessarily ideal when you're supposed to be throwing it more so to the right side of the bag to make a quick tag, because you allowed 3 stolen bases yesterday.
Speaking of Jordan Carrion, what a weekend for him at the plate. 5 of 11 with 2 RBIs. Made some plays in the field, pulled a couple of key double plays on Saturday as well. And I've deemed him the sack bunt master. When it comes to laying down a sacrifice bunt, there's nobody on this team better at that than Jordan Carrion right now.
He has been fantastic for this team. He does so many of these little things right that are going to make a big, big difference as the season wears on. I mean, he had 5 hits this weekend, and I know a few of those have been sack bunts that he's just able to drag down the first baseline or even the third baseline, and his speed is also such a nice tool. And he's also been very good defensively, too. I mean, he turned 2 of those massive double plays yesterday, specifically the one with the bases loaded and nobody out when Susie was on the mound to get out of that 4th inning jam. That was turned by Carrion to start. So very good player for South Carolina and does a lot of the little things right, like I said.
Yeah, and again, this team getting set for conference play, taking on Oklahoma coming up this weekend. Tomorrow we'll dive a little bit more into just how ready this team is for conference play, because guess what? Looking at the schedule, I believe Kentucky and Mississippi State are the only teams not ranked currently on South Carolina's schedule in terms of the SEC play.
It's going to be a gauntlet, but they got to be ready for it.
We'll see what happens. Again, we'll dive into that a little bit more coming up tomorrow. I'll dive back into women's basketball coming up next. Where's your confidence level at with this team's ability to run the table and win a national championship? We'll discuss that next. This is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you on your Monday here on the game.
.1075 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Tyler Head here for our friends once again over at Canty Foundation Specialist. Man, Saturday was like the perfect day. Weather-wise, about mid-70s, sunshine, little breezy. I wanted to spend the entire day outside. And then today it's 50 degrees and raining. Yuck. I hate it so much. And if you have an open crawl space under your home and you're experiencing a storm or some rain, like station can create all sorts of problems with your home, like mold and mildew, and invite pests like termites into your home via the crawl space. That air that you breathe in your home, about half of it comes from your crawl space. So you don't want to be breathing in nasty, moldy air. That's where our friends at Canty Foundation Specialist come in. Go online to schedule an appointment today at cantycanfix.com. I'll send a pro out to your home to evaluate your foundation problems and get them fixed so you and your family can live without worry going forward. Again, go online to schedule an appointment today at cantycanfix.com for our friends over at Canty Foundation Specialist.
what you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Act now for springtacular savings on the best selection of new Chevys. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including
your way over time with no long-term commitment. Plus, one penny gets you started on name-brand appliances, electronics, and furniture. Explore the deals at Aaron's.com or your local Aaron's store. Don't wait. Aaron's anniversary sale ends March 31st.
Approval not guaranteed. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Looking for a great job with a winning team? Join American Italian Pasta Company, part of Winland Foods, right here in Columbia, where they've been proudly producing Mueller's pasta for nearly 30 years. They offer competitive pay, great benefits like 401k match, and paid parental leave. They're hiring industrial multi-craft maintenance techs, packaging, and press operators. Positions available on both first and second shifts. A high school diploma or GED and manufacturing experience are required. Apply today at winlandfoods.com/careers and grow with us. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Columbia, Josh loves the spring, but he hates to paint, so he called Rhino Shield.
We have a cedar-sided home at the edge of the woods, painted like 1980s beige. We wanted something that was more of a mid-century and modern look. We were driving around and we saw a sign in somebody's yard that said Rhino Shield. It's not paint.
It's not paint, it's better.
We gave Rhino Shield a call, and they were fantastic with the arrangement on the schedule. The 25-year guarantee was important to us. This is our forever home, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is going to last a long time.
Columbia, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield now for 15% off the regular price.
I'd say if you're thinking about Rhino Shield, just do it. It's been 2 years now, and it still looks like the day it went on.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer's limited, so call today at 833-RHINO-99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
The extra point, the extra point, the extra point, the extra point. With Tyler Head and Gamecock Central on the Game Network.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Monday on the Game. Of course, reacting to what we saw yesterday just up the road in Greenville at the Bon Scores Wellness Arena with South Carolina's women's team taking home yet another SEC tournament championship, third in a row, ninth for Dawn Staley in her time here at South Carolina as they just continue to fill up that trophy case over there at Colonial Life Arena. And again, it's one of those things you just kind of expect to happen, right? Like, oh, well, of course South Carolina is the number one seed. Of course South Carolina wins the SEC Women's Tournament. That's just what you expect this program to do. But this weekend did something for me that I've talked about this the past couple weeks where obviously we know how good this team is. We know how talented this team is. But I've had this little bit of weariness in the back of my mind that this year they may not be able to run the table and get it done. And what I saw over this past weekend did boost my confidence in a lot of ways. Now, you can never put it on 100%, right? But it is a lot higher than it was. And it was still pretty high going into the weekend. I would say it was probably like a 92-ish% going into the weekend that, hey, this team can go and win the national championship. I think we've boosted it up to a higher a higher percentage in the 90s now, given what we saw and how they played over the course of this past weekend. That UConn loss is going to linger in the back of everyone's minds, and mine included, on that, because you can't ignore that. You came in and got dominated by 29 points on your home court, something that never, ever happens. And you can't just gloss over that and say that was nothing, because it was certainly something. But this team seems to be playing its best basketball as of right now. And, of course, we talked about this in the last hour, that Charlie Kareem's latest bracketology does have South Carolina as the number 1 overall seed. But here's Dawn Staley yesterday, before this latest edition of bracketology came out, when she made her case for why her team does deserve to be that number 1 overall seed.
When you win this tournament, right, and you play the schedule that we played, I do think we're the number 1 overall seed, no matter what it ends up being. And we, again, manufactured our schedule to put ourselves in this situation. So, I just hope the committee doesn't discount, our entire resume. There isn't anybody in the country that has played the schedule that we've played, that's won this, that had a share of the regular season, and then winning the tournament, having beat the number 1 team in the country. I think Oklahoma's 12. Are they 12? Right? I don't know. They're a top team in the country, and Vandy is a tournament team. Like, there's no one. There's no one. So, I'm shocked that we were the number 2 seed. I was very shocked. If beating us gives the people who beat us so much credit, like that you get so much credit for beating us, and yet when we've had some of the toughest stretches in the country and we came out of it unscathed, you can't discount that. Like, you can't discredit that. And I'm going to speak out about it because I have to, because you got to hear the voice of the other side. Because if you don't think our body of work deserves it, then somebody needs to speak out on it. And if it's not us, if it's not our conference, if it's not whoever, I'm going to go down fighting. I am going to go down fighting for what our team earned.
Well, and she doesn't have to fight too much there on that, because, again, Charlie Kareem does have South Carolina as the number 1 overall seed, taking down Texas yesterday. And, again, we've got a couple days. They'll have a few days off to rest and relax a little bit before the Selection Sunday show coming up at the end of this week, where they ultimately find out that seeding, as well as the who they're going to be inside of the bracket with, and all that kind of stuff, to see if they can pursue yet another national championship. But, again, what I saw this weekend reinstilled a lot of confidence. I mean, not that I didn't have confidence before, but taking care of the 3 teams that South Carolina did and the way that they did tells me that this team is playing its best basketball as of right now. And they're battle-tested. Dawn Staley, said it right there. And when you look at, I'm just looking at the net rankings right now, and South Carolina being number 2, but out of the top 15 of the 14 other teams in the top 15 besides South Carolina, Carolina has played 8 of them, and they've beaten 6 of them. The only exceptions being UCLA and UConn. So they play, and again, they have the best quad 1 resume out of everyone, going 16-3 against those opponents. They challenge themselves not only in conference, because those games are given to you, but they go outside of it. They play UConn. They play UCLA. They play TCU. They challenge themselves, which, and again, as much as it sucks to lose those games like they did against UCLA and did against UConn, I think this team's better because of it. And Dawn, if she was probably being brutally honest, I think would say those practices coming away from losing those games, as well as the Texas game a couple weeks ago, were probably the best teaching opportunities for her team. Because it's one thing when you're undefeated, right? Like last season was, where even in some of the tighter games, like against Tennessee in the semifinals of the SEC tournament last year, you say, hey, you guys didn't play your best today, and we had to rely on Cardoso banking a miracle 3 to win, to even advance to the finals. But at the end of the day, you say, well, yeah, but we still won. And this year, having so many learning opportunities on a team that, again, doesn't feature a star player. It's the sum of its part. It's not saying, okay, we're going to let Aaliyah Boston, we're going to let Asia Wilson, we're going to let Camille Cardoso just take the game over. You don't have that. But you have a lot of really good players that step up, like Chloe Kitts has done over the course of the entire weekend. like Malaysia Fulwiley does, like Joyce Edwards does, like the list goes on and on. And again, they're all coming together and playing at the right time, which makes you feel really good as we head into the second half of March with tournament starting up here in a couple days. We didn't dive too much into the other games of the weekend. South Carolina, of course, dominating Texas yesterday, 64 to 45. But their other two wins were very impressive as well. And also, there were bits of adversity that South Carolina did have to deal with when it came to winning these games. You know, on Friday, taking on Vanderbilt in the quarterfinals, it looked like South Carolina was just going to be well on their way to just running Vanderbilt out of the building in that contest. And then Vanderbilt makes their halftime adjustments and comes roaring out of the locker room and thoroughly outplays South Carolina in the third quarter of that game. And that carries over into the beginning of the fourth quarter as well. With 4 minutes and 22 seconds after Michaela Blake's banked a shot, it was a 5-point game. South Carolina was only ahead 68-63 with a little under 4.5 minutes left. And that is when this defense locked in, shut them out, went on a 16-0 run to close things out. And again, talking about not one specific player, but on that day it was Chloe Kitts. And in those final 4.5 minutes, she scored 9 for points that day. And again, was a big reason why South Carolina won this game. You also had Fulwiley going out there making her impact with her points and her steals as well. And again, we've seen this so many times with Carolina just cruising to victories after dominating the first half. But look, that was a team that features the freshman of the year in Michaela Blakes. They've got a lot of very good talent on that Vanderbilt team, and they challenged South Carolina to lock in and play better in the second half, and they did. They stepped up to the task. And then on, which, by the way, they held the combination of Breezy Hall and Tess Johnson held Michaela Blakes to just 33%, kept her under 20 shots, which, as we talked about on Friday with Elijah leading into that game, was going to be a big key because if she's taking 20-plus shots, then you could certainly be in trouble. So defense good there in terms of what they were able to do. And then you go to Saturday with the semifinal game against Oklahoma. Again, a team that South Carolina drugged by 41 points in the regular season a couple weeks ago. That, it's tough to do that to a team twice. And they played a whole heck of a lot better on Saturday. But again, when we talk about taking away star players like they did against Blake's on Friday, like they did for the most part against Booker on Sunday, Reagan Beers the same way on Saturday afternoon. I mean, she went a very long time between 7:23 to go in the first quarter and 5:27 to go in the game without scoring a single point. And again, when you're taking away their best player, that physical presence that Reagan Beers is, you're probably going to end up doing pretty well, which is exactly what South Carolina did. They dominated in the paint, much like they did yesterday, and just played that physical style of defense that we know is kind of a signature for this team. Forced a ton of turnovers as well. Same thing with yesterday. This is a team that will turn you over, cash in on those turnovers, and that's how they end up, pulling away from you. And I mean, Oklahoma's ability to, shoot threes is what was keeping them in that for a lot of that game. But South Carolina, again, just the defense speaks for itself and how dominant they were over the course of the weekend. And you fully expect that going forward now as well, regardless of who the opponent is, or whatever small mid-major team they're going to end up taking on in the first couple of rounds here. This bracketology by Charlie Kareem has them taking on either Southern or North Carolina A&T in the play-in round, with the opportunity to face either Creighton or Southern and A&T take each other on in the play-in round. Winner would take on South Carolina's 16, and then the winner of that would take on Creighton or Georgia Tech in the second round action there, which, of course, that would all be here in Columbia, assuming South Carolina is the number one seed in their side of the bracket. And again, we'll find out all the specifics of this coming up on Sunday, but a lot of confidence knowing that this team's playing its best basketball right now. And again, not that one of those losses can't happen. Because, again, we know this team isn't perfect. Nobody is. There's no undefeated teams left in women's college basketball for a reason. But if you're asking me to bet, and I'm not a betting person, but you ask me to bet right now who I think is going to win the entire thing, it's got to be on South Carolina. That's not me being a homer. That's not me saying this because I'm sitting here in Columbia. But what I'm seeing against high-caliber teams like Oklahoma, like Texas the past 2 days, I think there's no reason why they can't run the table and be hoisting another trophy, cutting down another set of nets coming up here in exactly a month's time down in Tampa, Florida. Maybe seeing Texas before then in a rematch of the Final Four. Maybe seeing UCLA in the national championship game for a potential rematch there. You know what I mean? An opportunity to right some of the wrongs of the season. And, hey, if UConn makes it out of Texas' side of the bracket, maybe get to rematch them as well, and you can get all your licks back for the losses that you have had this season like they did yesterday by picking up the win over Texas and claiming the SEC Women's Tournament crown. Plenty more to talk about this as the morning and the day rolls along, celebrating another women's basketball tournament championship for South Carolina ahead of another top seed potentially in the NCAA women's tournament in a little over a week's time. Do want to dive into some football coming up next as we're fast approaching the start of spring practice. How pivotal of a season is this for South Carolina? Is it one of the most pivotal of all teams in college football this year? One national writer certainly seems to think so, and we'll tell you what that is coming up next. It is The Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Monday on The Game.
7.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Gunner here with the mortgage guru Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. If the new year has you in need of a guru in this market, Jacob will get you taken care of. Just a few years ago, he helped me, and I personally recommend him and First Palmetto Bank, who's owned and operated right here in the Midlands. Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise processing and underwriting. So if you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call today, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Bill. It's nice to have the band back together. Interest rates have stabilized, as well as the local housing market. Now is a good time to buy a house. At First Palmetto, we have products that help home buyers keep payments down. Also, if you're considering building a home, we have a no-nonsense construction loan that fits your needs. If the new year brings change, we can help you. Give me a call, 803-719-1005.
Great news on the housing market having stabilized. So that makes it a good time to buy?
Absolutely. That sums it up, Bill.
Call Jacob Crowder today. 803-719-1005.
My MLS number is 198432. First Palmetto is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
NIL is more important than ever to success in college athletics. Our friends at Garnet Trust are trying to build the best NIL program in the country for South Carolina student athletes. Head on over to garnettrust.com where you can support Gamecock athletes, get access to exclusive content, and help build the best NIL program in the country.
Do you have gold you don't need? Are you looking to get cash? At Traditions Fine Jewelers, it only takes a few minutes for us to check, but you'll be amazed at what cash it brings. Did you know if you had gold the size and weight of a quarter, you would generate $125 in 10 karat or $175 in 14 karat? Want to trade your gold? That same quarter would generate $204 in 10 karat or $286 in 14 karat. Traditions Fine Jewelers, 5134 Sunset Boulevard in Lexington, or at the Village at Sand Hills. Traditions Fine Jewelers, always giving you more for your gold.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Kickstart your day at 9 a.m. with your Carolina Pick-Me-Up. Sponsored by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you're injured, call 09s today.
Get George Sink Law Firm on the line. Call 999-9999.
Springtime in Columbia. And if you hate to paint, do what Jean did. She called Rhino Shield.
So the house was built in 1952. We had Rhino Shield out about a year and a half ago to paint our house from gray to white.
Remember, Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
My husband had to talk to me a little bit about Rhino Shield. Is it something we want to do? But it was a 25-year guarantee. I just didn't know how we could go wrong.
Columbia, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield now for 15% off the regular price.
We have 3 different exteriors to our property, and Rhino Shield painted them all. We were very pleased with the product and the job they did.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer's limited, so call today at 833-RHINO-99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Extra Point
with Tyler Head and Gamecock Central
on the Game Network.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head with you here on your Monday as we are making our way through the middle part of March. We are only a little over a week away from spring practice getting rolling. I believe next Wednesday is the first day officially of practice. Going to have Pro Day next Tuesday, the 18th, which we are set to be out there over at the football facility to see all these Gamecocks that we expect to hear their names called, and plenty of others that are going to get opportunities at the next level. Hopefully go out there and work out for NFL scouts, much like we did a year ago. So looking forward to that and seeing what ends up becoming of all those guys when they are playing at the next level. But as we get closer to spring practice, kind of lock back in on football a little bit. There hasn't been a whole lot going on these past couple weeks. Of course, the transfer portal not open or has closed at this point for the winter cycle. Coaches out on the recruiting trail and all those kind of things. But kind of getting ramped back up with spring practice here in a few days as we prepare for what's hopefully going to be another good season in 2025. Ari Wasserman, who writes for On3, national writer for them, put out his list over the weekend of the 10 college football teams facing the most pivotal seasons in 2025. And I'll get into this entire list coming up in a minute, but it should come as no surprise that South Carolina ends up being number 10 on this list for him, again, in terms of having the most pivotal season in 2025. Look, we have a lot of questions about this team as of right now. Again, you're losing a lot of talent that's going to go on and be drafted here in a couple weeks into the NFL, mainly on your defense. And you have younger guys that are stepping up. You have freshmen coming in, and you have transfers. A lot of guys that are just very unproven on both sides of the ball that generate a lot of questions about what exactly this team is going to be. How good are they going to be? How much that's going to be on the players? How much that's going to be on the coaches? We don't exactly know. And this season is so pivotal for a lot of reasons, mainly because it really kind of, for a lot of people, will determine the way the pendulum is going to swing for this program, right? Like, let's kind of review Coach Beamer's first couple of years here. First year, no expectations. Go out there, 7-6 win a bowl game. Okay, doing pretty good in that regard. Second year, obviously, we know what happened with the huge wins over Texas and Clemson, where, again, you exceeded expectations. Year number 3, take a step back. Okay, not great. Year number 4, 9 wins. You were in conversation for the college football playoff. However good of a shot you had it or not, you were still there, and they had to talk about you and essentially tell you no. And this, for a lot of people, not just from a national standpoint, but I think a lot of people here locally, if you can back up a 9-win season with another strong 9 or 10-win performance and either be right on the bubble or make your way into the college football playoff, I think it will legitimize this program in a lot of people's eyes under Shane Beamer, as it's not going to be this chaotic roller coaster of, hey, 1 year it's great, 1 year it's not, 1 year it's great, 1 year it's not. If you can put together back-to-back strong seasons, especially with how much you lost last year, I think the confidence level for the entire fan base goes up by several notches. As Ari notes in his article here, having quarterback one figured out with Sellers, as well as having a dominant presence coming off the edge in Dylan Stewart, at least on one side, does alleviate your concern a little bit. And especially when you talk about quarterback, because there are plenty of teams out there, and some of them on this list, that are heading into spring practice not exactly knowing who their quarterback's going to be, knowing that a lot of the offseason is going to be spent having that battle and figuring out which guy is going to be your true number one at the most important position on the field. That's not South Carolina's problem. Again, knock on wood, if Sellers can stay healthy, then he's going to be starting every single game this year. And based on what we saw at the end of last year, we expect him to be pretty darn good in regard to that. Wasserman notes here in his little blurb about South Carolina, he says, head coach Shane Beamer probably doesn't have to do much more to prove he's the right coach for South Carolina, but this season could be pivotal in showing the country that South Carolina can compete with the nation's best. And I think it's significant as well when you talk about this, that your schedule is almost the exact same. 75% of the teams that you played last year are on your schedule once again this year, at least in the regular season, in reference to your 8 conference games, same teams just flipping home and away, as well as, of course, the Clemson game at the end of the regular season. So you're going to get a very rare instance of direct comparison one year to the other for pretty much your entire schedule. Now, of course, we know teams change drastically from one year to the next, but we still live in this mindset when it comes to college football of still thinking teams are so similar year to year in a lot of ways, even though they're not. So again, from a perception standpoint, you can still prove a lot by playing the same teams you did from a year ago. So it's like, okay, well, you played Alabama down to the wire in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Okay, well, you should be able to beat them in Williams-Brice Stadium, right? You obviously took care of business against A&M here. Everybody's throwing the field. It was great. Top 10 win, all those kind of things. Okay, go to College Station, do the same thing. Handle Missouri and Como, where things have been weird and funky for you. Take care of Vanderbilt when you're at home. Finally be able to beat Clemson at home for the first time in a while. In a series that's gone back and forth when it comes to the road teams these past couple of years, and so on and so forth, where you have this direct comparison one year or the other about, hey, here's what you did against this team last year, and here's what you do against them this year. That, again, I think goes a long way in terms of what people's perception of this program is. And if you can have a strong season after losing so much, I think it can also make the future off seasons less worrisome, if that makes sense. Because, and not that people are like overly panicked as of right now, but as we talk about quite a bit, it's just a lot of questions. Saying, okay, well, I don't know how this guy's going to do at this spot, transferring in or whatever, because we just hadn't seen a lot of him. The linebacker room is completely redone. And you have a guy in J.R. Johnson that, Wes and Chris talk about how high they are on him, going back to his time of camping at South Carolina and all those kind of things. We don't know. We think it's going to be great. We don't know. Same thing with Sean Murphy and Okoronkwo, the transfer linebackers. Like, these guys were pretty decently touted coming out of high school, but they've not gotten a ton of playing time at their respective schools before coming here. We don't know. And again, if you can, it's not just the players stepping out there and doing their job on the field. That's a huge part of it. It's also the development from the coaches as well. That if you can take in, again, a transfer portal class that for the most part, save for, Brandon Cisse, Rashul Faison, and some of the guys in the offensive line, is not one that has a long track record of a ton of success on the field leading into this season. And if you can take this crop of unproven guys in a lot of way and turn them into high-caliber SEC talents that's helping you beat some of the best teams in the conference, then that confidence in the coaching staff and their ability to develop and get players where they need to be to compete at South Carolina and compete in the SEC will, again, just really go through the roof in a lot of people's minds and make future off seasons, especially when you've lost a lot of talent, not as much of a worrisome thing because, okay, well, they've done it before, and they'll just go out there and do it again. So Carolina facing a very pivotal season in 2025 to really kind of prove to the college football world at least, that they're legit. That, last year wasn't just some anomaly because you had a ton of NFL caliber talent. This is who you are. This is who you're going to be going forward. And that you should be a team that people are afraid of when they see you on your schedule. Because in a lot of the past several years, that has not been the case. So we'll see if they can, again, swing that pendulum in the right direction and build off that going forward. They're not the only team on this list. Again, they come in at number 10. A lot of teams that we're very familiar with, a lot higher on this list. I'll dive into that and why the season's pivotal for all of them coming up next. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Monday on the Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Thinking about investing in a hot tub? Great idea. Hot tubs offer relax and hydrotherapy for tired muscles and stressed minds. But beware, all spas are not the same. At Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, we offer hot spring and free flow spas exclusively for their quality, energy efficiency, and affordability. And we have everything to keep your spa and pool sparkling, clean, and crystal clear. Come see it all at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, Forest Drive, and jackoliverpools.com.
Need a roof? Trust Crescent Construction. With over 20,000 roofs installed and counting, they've got the experience you need. They specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, and general contracting. Visit CrescentCarolina.com today for free estimates and free inspections. That's right, no cost, no commitment. Crescent Construction, quality you can count on. For all your roofing and construction needs, visit CrescentCarolina.com now.
This is Bill Gunn for Old Timey Meat Market. I spend my nights with my son, my daughter, enjoying cooking out with Old Timey Meat Market foods, and you need to visit one of their 3 locations, St. Andrews, South Congaree, and Lexington, where you'll find their shelves stocked with various cuts and grades of beef, pork, poultry, seafood, and of course, exotic meats. Selections are always fresh, never frozen, competitively priced, and of the absolute highest quality. So get all of your needs at Old Timey Meat Market.
Old Timey Meat Market. Quality selection, a cut above the rest.
10 years ago, who could have predicted what the internet would bring? Streaming videos, voice assistants, smartphones, smart homes, work from home. But here we are, wondering what the next 10 years will bring. Whatever it brings, Lumos 100% fiber optic internet is ready with incredible speeds and reliability. So you can do more and be more than you ever thought possible on the internet built for the future. See your future at lumosfiber.com/future.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Honey,
Honey? Honey!
What's wrong? I thought you already left for work.
The garage door is broken. It won't open and I can't get my car out. I can't miss this meeting today. Everyone is coming in for it.
Relax. I'm texting OGD right now.
What is OGD?
OGD, Overhead Garage Door. They're the garage door experts in Columbia. Take my car in the driveway and OGD will handle the garage. They have same-day service and they'll get the garage door fixed today. Fast and easy.
Wait, with just one text, you can get our garage door fixed same day by OGD?
Yes, OGD will get it done, no problem. Now, you need to get to work and let OGD worry about the garage door.
Garage door broken, stuck, slow, or squeaky? Text OGD, the only name you need for your garage door. Text TIGHT to 200-300 right now. Text right now and get an exclusive link to special limited time savings. Don't wait. Text the word TIGHT to 200-300 now. Text TIGHT to 200-300.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
I've been doing this show for decades and decades and decades.
With rapid fire takes.
Learn how to stop it, learn how to run it, or at least make a good argument. I don't even like the play. I've never fought so hard to defend something I don't like.
Scorching debates.
You can beef about anything you want. Why are you pushing me?
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Just so you all know, this is no one-off. This is what we're going to get every single day.
Let's go, Jim!
Let's go!
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
What team sprung a leak this weekend? Sponsored by American Leak Detection on the Extra Point.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. It's Ed along with you here on your Monday on the Game. Time for Who Sprung a Leak, brought to you by our friends over at American Leak Detection. Of course, it's the lead story of the day for us here. Texas sprung a leak, offensively at least. 45 points, tying a record low for a conference championship game, or excuse me, the SEC tournament championship game there. Held under 30% from the field, turned the ball over 18 times, and was 1 of 8 from three-point range against South Carolina yesterday. So Texas is our winner today of Who Sprung a Leak, brought to you by our friends over at American Leak Detection. As you know, Carolina imposes will defensively once again on the Texas Longhorns, much like they did in game number 1, en route to picking up that win and claiming yet another SEC women's tournament crown. And we'll dive back into that game and the weekend that was once again at the top of the hour with Wes and Chris. Get some of their thoughts on what they saw happen up the road in Greenville over the course of the weekend as well. But we're making our way through this list of top 10 college football teams facing pivotal seasons in 2025 by Ari Wasserman of On 3. Of course, South Carolina comes in at number 10 on this list. And as I said in the last segment, pivotal from the standpoint of kind of establishing what you are and what you're going to be going forward. That people will say, hey, you know, Carolina's that team that can jump up and have a crazy good year every couple years, but besides that, they're just kind of mediocre and average. If you can follow up what you did last year with another strong season, especially with all the questions that we have in this offseason, then you've established yourself in a lot of people's eyes, and including a lot of people here in Columbia, which I think is would be a very good thing, obviously, for Coach Beamer. But looking at the rest of this list, some interesting teams and names on this one. Led off at number 1 by the Oklahoma Sooners. And pivotal doesn't even begin to describe how important this season is for Brent Venables in his time out there in Norman, Oklahoma. Look, his track record speaks for itself as a defensive coordinator. What he did for Clemson on those national championship teams, phenomenal. It does seem like maybe he's bit off a little more than he can chew as a head coach out there at Oklahoma, where he's had 2 6-7 seasons in 3 years so far. And Oklahoma, being the proud, winning traditional program that they are, they don't take losing very well. And as much as they don't want to be the type of program that pushes a guy out the door in less than 4 years, if you're not winning, that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. Like Brent Venables, I think, goes into this year with one of the hottest seats in college football because he's not performing up to the Oklahoma standard. And it doesn't help that your biggest rival, your adversary in Texas, also came into the SEC and went all the way to the SEC championship game and the college football playoff semifinals in their first year in the league. Again, for Oklahoma, who's historically, especially in these past couple decades, been better than Texas, now be passed by them as you go into this new league, that's not acceptable to the folks out there in Norman. And Brent Venables needs to turn things around in order to save his job, quite frankly. Last year the quarterback situation was a complete disaster with Jackson Arnold not being what everybody thought he was going to be. And then Michael Hawkins Jr. coming in, then eventually going back to Jackson Arnold. They did pull off the upset against Alabama, and credit to them for that. But the season as a whole was a largely a disappointment. They now bring in John Mateer as transfer quarterback to, in their mind, obviously, hopefully get him back, get that program back on track where it needs to go, and have more consistent and solid quarterback play. So we'll see if they are able to do that. Number 2 on this list, Alabama. Look, it's college football playoff or bust for Kalen DeBoer. Like, he's a good coach. And prior to coming to Alabama, we talked about it, over a year ago when he took the job. He's won everywhere that he's been at a high level, including taking a very, let's say, under-talented, but compared to the Michigan team that they played, weren't on the same level talent-wise as them in the national championship a year ago. Obviously goes to Alabama, and I think he learned just how tough the SEC is pretty quickly. And to say somebody is under a lot of pressure in year number 2, as much as he is an insane thing to say at a lot of programs around the country. But for Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, it's not. Because, again, the standard that Nick Saban created there is you should be in contention every single year. And to miss the college football playoff with the egregious loss they had towards the end of the regular season on the road at Oklahoma, just getting dominated by a under 500 team in conference play, that's unacceptable. And sure, you can make the argument they weren't interested in the bowl game and all that kind of stuff, but it's still a bad look that sent this fan base into the offseason with sour taste in their mouth by losing to Michigan, a team that they are a whole lot more talented than. And this year, again, with an expanded field of 12 spots, if Kalen DeBoer can't get Alabama there in year number 2 and they're 8-4 or something like that, some questions are going to be asked. I don't know if you move on from them that quickly. But again, Alabama, where the standard's so high, I'm not going to sit here and say I'd be shocked if those conversations weren't being taken seriously. You know what I mean? Just kind of started if you're not able to, at the very least, get back to the college football playoff. Number 3 on this list, the U, Miami. Let's face it, SMU came in and upstaged the U in their first year in the league. Miami had a special talented quarterback at Cam Ward, who's going to be hearing his name called here pretty high in the draft here soon. Now, you can make the argument of how pro-ready he is as a quarterback, but there's no denying he was one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football this past year. And much like LSU, who I'll get to in a moment, 2 years ago with Jaden Daniels, it feels like a wasted opportunity that you had this great quarterback and your defense was so dismal, it didn't matter. You lose 2 out of your last 3 games to Georgia Tech in the regular season, Georgia Tech and Syracuse, and cost yourself a spot in the championship game, as well as a spot in the college ball playoff. And now you move on to Carson Beck at quarterback. Is he going to be a better option? I don't know. Last year at Georgia, it was rough. Throwing interceptions left and right didn't look like, what many people thought going into the year was a first-round draft pick. Can he be better? We'll see. But Mario Cristobal, with the amount of resources and talent they have there at Miami, there's no reason they shouldn't be in your conference championship game and making it into the college ball playoff. And this year is very pivotal in deciding what the U is going to be under Mario Cristobal going forward. Number 4, Michigan. Look, we all knew that when Jim Harbaugh left after winning the national championship, there was going to be regression, right? Because a lot of talent left. McCarthy left. Obviously, one of the best coaches in college football moves on, goes back to the NFL, hands the reins over to Sharon Moore, who had never been a head coach before, except for those games that he had to coach when Harbaugh was suspended. But regardless, we knew there was going to be a step back. I don't think we saw it being as bad as it was where you were completely inept on offense for most of the year. You have quarterbacks that couldn't throw a forward pass to save their lives, it seemed like. Now, yeah, you ended the season on a very strong note. You beat Michigan and Alabama, and you beat Ohio State and Alabama in back-to-back games. That's great. Was that a flash in the pan, or is that something you can build off of? And I think that's the biggest question going into the offseason for Michigan is, okay, what is this program now? Are they one that's going to continue to compete in the Big Ten, or are they just going to kind of float around that 8-ish win mark and just be good to okay? And we'll see. You got Bryce Underwood coming in as a multi-million-dollar true freshman to, in their minds, hopefully right the ship at quarterback. We'll see. I don't know. I don't like putting all your faith into a true freshman, but Michigan's kind of at the point where they may have to just do that. So we'll see. And lastly, again, this is Ari Wasserman's top 10 college football teams facing the most pivotal seasons in 2025. Last one of the top 5 here is LSU. Brian Kelly's a victim of having quick success. First year, come in, you beat Alabama, you win the West, you go to play in Atlanta for the SEC championship game, and they've not been able to replicate that in the 2 years since then. Again, mentioned a moment ago, you had the best quarterback in college football in Jaden Daniels 2 years ago, but your defense couldn't stop a nosebleed, and you wasted that year. So for a team as talented as they are, and you got Garrett Nussmeier coming back, which is big, you should not be excluded from the playoff conversation going into the last couple weeks of the regular season like they were this past year with an ugly loss to Florida late in the season. Pivotal year. Again, he's got an insane buyout. They're not going to fire him, but the apathy could set in a bit if this year is not better for Brian Kelly down there at LSU. So again, list teams facing their most pivotal seasons in 2025. Carolina's on that list, and we'll see if they can back up or even do better than what they did a season ago in 2025. Speaking of teams that we hope can be better next year, men's basketball wrapped up the regular season on Saturday on the road at Rocky Top. We'll dive into that. Let's hear a little bit of what Coach Paris had to say and then look ahead to the SEC men's tournament coming up on Wednesday. Next is wrap up hour number 2 of the Extra Point on your Monday. Tyler Head here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
I'm Jody Mack with a Sports Minute. Next Sunday is Selection Sunday for the NCAA basketball tournament. Everybody loves the bracket, the field of 68, and finding a Cinderella. This week, Cinderella has to find her slipper by slipping into the big dance with a conference tournament championship. If you're in a one-bid league and you're eliminated in your conference tournament, the only thing you'll have achieved is pumpkin status. I'm Jody Mack.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Alan Kennington, responsible for this ad. Office in 1440 Broad River Road, Columbia, South Carolina.
You're hurt. With over 85,000 cases resolved, 12 offices across the state, and over $1 billion recovered in just the past 10 years, you need South Carolina's largest injury law firm on your side. You need George Sink now. George Sink knows South Carolina, and George Sink lawyers will help you every step of the way on your recovery.
Get George Sink Law Firm on the line. Call 999-9999.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
T-Mobile home internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
I'm rehearsing. There are so many benefits. You got to talk fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try thinking it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on them.
Get T-Mobile home internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line.
Additional terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Car wreck, dial all sevens now. We got a $250,000 settlement for a client injured in a car accident when driver illegally turned in front of him.
Dial all sevens now.
The Nestapool Law Firm is not scared to go to court. We got a $2.5 million jury verdict for our client when the other driver failed to yield.
What do? Good heavens, dial all seven.
To get your attorney, dial 800-ALL-7s now.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
Hi, I'm Glenn Matthews.
And I'm Melanie Matthews.
And we are the third-generation owners of Modern Exterminating Company.
In a time when corporate consolidation, high-pressure door knockers, and inexperienced startups are becoming the norm, isn't it nice to have an experienced, local, family-owned company that you can count on since 1955?
Modern Exterminating has been the local, independent industry leader in the pest control business for the last 67 years. Experience the local, family-owned difference for yourself at 803-765-2315 or pestfreesc.com.
Here's a spring cleaning hack to make your life a lot easier. Schedule an appointment with Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Their ZR water cleans better than detergents while leaving zero residue behind. For this month only, take advantage of their spring sale and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. That's 3 rooms of carpet plus a hallway for $119. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
The Extra Point
with Tyler Head and Gamecock Central
on the Game Network.
Welcome back in. Extra Point. Tyler Head with you on your Monday here on the Game. Recapping the weekend that was in Gamecock sports. Of course, great weekend for women's basketball. Baseball taking care of business. Softball, despite losing all 3 games, all those by 1 run to the dynasty that is Oklahoma. So no shame in that. Then men's basketball. Well, they wrapped up their regular season. Finally, it feels like it's been a regular season that's lasted 8 years at this point, but finally comes to an end, 75-65 on the road at Rocky Top on Saturday. Carolina did have the game tied all at 34 at halftime. Could not slow down Tennessee's shooting in the second half and ended up falling by 10 points to one of the best teams in the entire country in the Tennessee Volunteers. Very strong day for Nick Pringle, 16 points, 14 rebounds. Jamari Thomas having one of his best outings as a Gamecock, 20 points on Saturday as well. Seemed to be a little bit limited there with only 7 points, but a strong showing against a really good team to wrap up the regular season for South Carolina. Again, a team that we've talked about for a while that's already kind of turning the page next year in a lot of ways and has one more game at least coming up on on Wednesday as they take on Arkansas in the opening round of the SEC men's tournament going on there in Nashville, a team that they did just beat only a couple of weeks ago. And coming off of Saturday's win, Coach Paris talked about after the game the confidence and the ability to face a team that they had just beaten in the opening round of the SEC tournament coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to play one of the two teams in the league that we did beat. It's also nice that we won that game relatively recently. So the guys will look back and remember all the things that we did. So we'll go over that again and show some of the things. They're going to make some adjustments, no doubt. But yeah, it's a good way for us to start. We'd be excited to play whoever it was. But again, it's just the way it worked out as a team that you've beaten. So in the minds of our guys, there should be a level of confidence in that matchup.
And there probably will be. Again, this isn't like you're taking on Auburn or Alabama or something like that. You're taking on a team that came into your barn and you waxed pretty easily in that game. You dominated it from A to Z, and we thought Arkansas was never going to be able to score enough points. Or score, enough points in that first half. So there's going to be a lot of confidence going into this game. And Carolina has been playing better basketball here as of late, to close out the regular season. Couple wins. Again, playing competitively against Tennessee. Again, we're not looking for moral victories here, but it's better than getting blown out by 40 points, obviously. And there's a realistic scenario where they could win this game on Wednesday. Opening round of the SEC men's tournament. By the way, that tip-off's at 1 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage for you starting here on the game at 12:30 as Carolina looks to extend its season as much as it can. You win that game, you take on Ole Miss on Thursday at the same time, and so on and so forth. And again, we've known for a while that Carolina's only hope of any kind of extra postseason play was putting together a perfect 5-game run in Nashville. We've seen it happen before. Georgia did it, in 2008. It's not crazy. But I'm not expecting that to happen for this team. Whatever they can do past at this point is just gravy, I guess. We know the attention's turning to next year, and the most important thing happening in 2025 is going to be the offseason and acquiring talent via the transfer portal, developing the talent that you have, and just putting together something better for next year. Again, last year was so much fun, making the tournament and all that kind of stuff, and the bare minimum of expectation this year was at least getting back there and maybe playing in the second weekend. That's not going to happen. You're not anywhere close to it. How can you, Coach Paris, and as a program, get better in the offseason? Realize your mistakes this year in terms of the talent that you brought in, all that kind of stuff, figure out the NIL dollars, and make next year better. Because as we talked about, Coach Paris, not on the hot seat right now, but if next year can't be better than this year, then we're having a different conversation. Because, again, the expectation here is certainly a little bit higher. And when you come off of making the tournament, it gets set higher for a reason. We'll see what happens. But wrapping up the regular season with lost Tennessee, taking on Arkansas coming up on Wednesday in the SEC men's tournament. That'll do it for the X Point. Coming up next, Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs on your Monday here on The Game.
.1075 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Are you considering a new roof or repairs but unsure where to start? Crescent Construction offers free roofing estimates to help you make informed decisions with ease. Our expert team is ready to assess your needs and provide comprehensive insights. Visit our website, CrescentCarolina.com, to learn more about our services and schedule your free estimate today. Trust us to guide you through the process with professionalism and care. Don't wait. Contact us today at CrescentCarolina.com.
what you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where the inventory's overflowing and the deals are in full bloom. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Hello, I'm Tom Reek with South Carolina Lumber and Supply in Casey, South Carolina. We specialize in lumber that focuses on the inside of your home. Shiplap, beaded ceiling, V-joint, and flooring. Because we focus on these areas only, we can provide you with quality products at incredible savings. So if you're looking for a simple accent wall, a porch ceiling, or a whole interior makeover, we're here to help. Come see us at 2245 Julius Felder Street in Casey. Our store hours are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, or give us a call at 803-608-3097. We look forward to working with you at South Carolina Lumber and Supply in Casey.
Hey, this is Nikki Stengel, manager of the Nest Showroom. We offer a wide variety of affordable products in plumbing, lighting, and appliances, providing our clients with a unique and convenient place to shop. The Nest has product specialists on site to provide you the attention to detail and service you deserve. We believe in providing exceptional customer service and inspiring beautiful interiors and design, doing whatever it takes to get the job done. Come see for yourself. The Nest Showroom, located at 1331 Gadsden Street in the Vista.
Are you planning on remodeling the inside of your home soon? What about upgrading the backyard with a patio, fire pit, or pool? Maybe not remodeling, but moving to a new home or building a home. Don't forget to add integrated media to your list of to-do items. From installing internet lines to in-ceiling speakers in your home office or kitchen remodel to installing outdoor speakers and a waterproof TV around your new backyard setup, Integrated Media has you covered. When moving from one home to another, the guys can even take down your existing TVs, package them up to transport safely to your new home, and reinstall them. That's one less thing for you to worry about. And last but not least, when planning to build your custom home, make sure that you don't forget about planning for all of today's and tomorrow's technology. You might not need coax cable in your home, but you do need Cat 6 internet lines, and some builders don't even realize this. We can help with any remodeling and new home construction. Give us a call today, 803-948-8327. The best in home theater, Integrated Media.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice, but many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
11 o'clock on your Monday morning. Welcome in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, West, and Chris along with you. We're capping a huge weekend across all of Gamecock sports, and we'll hit on all that, of course, the next hour. Of course, headline, guys, by what happened just up the road yesterday in Greenville, South Carolina, taking another SEC women's tournament crown. Third in a row, ninth time in Dawn Staley's tenure here at South Carolina in what can only be described as a defensive masterclass, 64-45 over Texas yesterday.
Pack the paint, man. Like they, it's a Texas team that does not, first of all, shoot me three-pointers, and then obviously they don't make many either. So I thought it was a great game plan. as you would expect, and just great execution. To me, South Carolina, they looked fresh. You could see their depth really kind of shine through, as it has all year long. But I think you put the team like that in, basically for them, a 3-game tournament, 3 games in 3 days, and that depth really shines through. And, the beauty of this is it kind of matched what we've seen all year, and that is that on a different day, it's going to be a different 2 or 3 girls that are just going to kind of take control and be the stars for that day. And really for this tournament, obviously, I think Chloe Kitts is probably one of the biggest stories. But again, the beauty of this team is there's probably about 5 different storylines you could kind of point to and say, hey, that's the headline. That's why South Carolina won. And, once again, I think they're playing some pretty good basketball going into the tournament. And I saw, at least going into Sunday, Vegas favorite for the entire thing was UConn.
Yes.
And number 2 on that list, South Carolina. So will that shift, with what we've seen or not? But we just saw our South Carolina-Texas rematch.
Rubber game.
And now I'm going to just go ahead and speak it into existence, South Carolina-UConn rematch for the title.
Oh.
Okay.
I like that.
Now, it depends on how the brackets shake out.
I know.
Well,
because
obviously.
as of right now, they would have to play each other in the Final Four if Charlie Kareem's latest bracketology is correct. But a potential rematch is certainly in the cards. They could see Texas for a 4th time, too. That's another real possibility, too. So still a lot of high-level teams to certainly play between now and pursuing another national championship. But, it's almost kind of become the norm, right, of expecting this team to win the tournament championship and do it in dominating fashion like they did across the 3 games over the weekend between Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and then yesterday against Texas as well.
Texas is a very interesting team. And by the way, I don't know. I had this thought yesterday watching them. I feel like you have to be able to shoot to win a national championship, and they don't shoot threes like you said, Wes. They're obviously a very good team. They're number 1 team in the country for a while. You don't do that and lose.
Well, they were the top seed going into the weekend.
Yeah, 2 or 3 games. But unless you're really good. And in some ways, what they have is built to combat what South Carolina has. We've talked about this. Like, there are only a few teams that can match up with South Carolina. UConn obviously could, as we saw in Columbia. UCLA was one. Lauren Betts was a huge reason for that. Texas, with Oldacre, Taylor Jones, the way that they play, like, they can combat South Carolina a little bit. But the Gamecocks, to your point, Wes, like, completely flipped that on its head yesterday because they said, all right, you make 3 threes a game. That's what they average, 3 threes a game.
Yep.
We're just going to pack the paint. It was jarring to watch Rory Harmon out there dribbling around with several feet of space, and she got, her best shot is shoot from the mid-range, make tough shots. She got a few of those, but every basket was tough. Carolina gave them the threes. If they would have taken some, then if they would have made some, maybe you have to shift the strategy. But they packed the paint. They made them pass inside. Every shot was difficult. And I really think not only was the game plan, it was a great team game plan. It was great team defense. But I think another key was how they played Madison Booker. Caught on camera saying Bree Hall couldn't guard her in game 2.
Bet.
Shot very poorly in 2 of the 3 games.
Yep.
Didn't shoot that well in the game in Austin either.
She just took a lot of
volume shots.
Yeah.
And 6 free throws. Tessa Johnson and Bree Hall were masterful on her yesterday.
Yeah, I think it gets a little bit lost. What Bree especially, and then I would say just Raven Johnson's defense in general probably gets lost a little bit, just what that means to this team. And I think, obviously, as time has gone on, this program has been one that not only will play great defense, but also can go off and score 100 points, but it will still go back to defense. Like that is a non-negotiable, I think, when it comes to Dawn Staley. And we've seen them over time evolve to where there are just very few weaknesses on this team. And the one being, if you maybe like Chris was talking about, if you have that dominant big to oppose South Carolina, maybe you got a chance. But, you know, I think in a lot of ways, not to bring up a bad memory for South Carolina fans, but in a lot of ways, South Carolina did to Texas what Iowa did to South Carolina a few years ago in the championship game, and just said, we are going to almost deliberately, like it was almost like they were giving that space deliberately, like, hey, we want you to notice that we don't believe you can hit these three-pointers. So until you prove you can, we're going to almost dare you. It's not one of those things where you're just giving that person a little bit of space. We're going to give you a little extra. It was almost a mind game.
Caitlin Clark was playing 10 feet off of Raven Johnson. Like, go ahead, try.
Yes, but this felt very similar to me. And, Texas hit, 1 3-pointer there, 1 for 8.
Yep.
And it was completely inconsequential, like late in the game.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, the percentages on this thing for Texas, you've got an 0 for 7 in your starting lineup, including 0 for 4 from 3. But that a lot of that is, I mean, it's just South Carolina playing really, really good defense as well and being connected defensively. And, to me, maybe the biggest thing for this game, too, is they never allowed Texas to sort of go on that answer of a run. And I don't know about y'all. I was watching, South Carolina was up big on Friday. And, there's the run. There was a little mini run from Texas in the second half, but South Carolina answered right back. And you were kind of wondering, all right, is this where it is? Is this where they kind of do they finally answer and make this thing interesting? And they never could. And so just overall, though, I mean, if you have anything negative to say about this weekend, it's just nitpicking at this point. Like, it was a pretty strong 3-day outing for this team. I mean, you end up winning the game by 19 and just held them to obviously 6 points in the second quarter, 16 points in the first half.
Yep.
And I just feel like because Texas does not shoot three-pointers, if you get a lead, as good a defense as South Carolina plays, if you get a lead on a team like that, it was going to be very difficult for Texas to mount a comeback the later and later it got, because you don't have that advantage of trading threes for twos like some teams might.
Some stats from my guy Chris Wellbaum. South Carolina set a championship game record for the fewest points allowed in 45, fewest points in a half in 16, second fewest field goals made in 16, and fourth lowest field goal percentage, allowing just 29.6%. So again, dominant defensive display all the way around, very much like we saw them do here against Texas in that game back in January. Of course, kind of flipped on its head in that game they played last month out in Austin. But again, South Carolina wins the rubber matchup. Very real possibility these teams could see each other in the Final Four. They're both going to be number one seeds on their respective side of the bracket. And again, it seems like South Carolina is playing its best basketball right now, which again is what you want. You didn't love seeing the losses over the course of the regular season to UCLA, UConn, and Texas, but there's no doubt it made this team better. And again, they're playing their best basketball right now, which is all that matters.
Yeah, I do think not that you ever go into a game ever hoping to lose, and it hurts, I'm sure, but there was probably a lot gained from probably all of those losses. And, I think you can always now point to them. You can say, hey, if we do not keep the main thing, as Don Staley and staff say, then we can be beat. And so I think that's a driving force. But you're seeing different people step up, and obviously you're now getting that consistency out of Chloe Kitts, which Chloe was great all weekend long. On Saturday, though, good grief. Like, I mean, the consistency that she's shown over the last 5, 6, 7 or so games, though, is pretty impressive. And so if you're getting that from her, and Fulwiley's shot was not falling on Sunday, but she was fantastic. I thought there was going to be a difficult decision if South Carolina won it on who the MVP was going to be, because after 2 games, it looked like Kitts would be in the conversation. I thought after 2 games it was probably edged to Fulwiley. And then Joyce Edwards, though, with what she did Saturday, you were going, she's going to be in the conversation. And so I don't. But then Kitts, when you just look at the totality of what she did, it was insane. And all right, was it Friday or Saturday that Kitts was just super efficient too? That was Friday.
Friday, because they won on that 16-0 run to end the game with Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
She scored 9 of those points.
They're running together for me. But
by the way, her weekend stat line: 50 points, 23 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. That's MVP. No doubt.
Yeah. She removed all doubt, I feel like, by the 3rd game. But, man, just the confidence that some of the moves she's even attempting, I don't think she would have – and she's finishing them too, but I don't think she would have even attempted them maybe last year or even the beginning of this year. So, another – I mean, guys, if you want to point to, like, recruiting and development, just another – there's a countless list now.
Fagan was phenomenal. I thought the whole weekend, especially. I mean, yesterday she was really good. Her outside shot
made a 3-pointer.
I think Saturday she made a 3-pointer
with confidence.
Her passing, I mean, just all of but they're hitting their stride now, and they've lost some games. I mean, I don't know if y'all watched the trophy presentation after, but we flipped over to it and watched it, and Dawn was talking about those. She didn't use this quote exactly, but it brought to mind the Nick Saban quote, "Never waste a failing," and they didn't, right? Like Dawn said, hey, it's tough to lose games. We're not used to it, but how do you grow from them? We're going to use those opportunities and or look at them as opportunities, not just we lost. It's kind of what now, and that's what they've done. And as a team, they're really playing their best ball. And you see, I mean, we just went through half the roster as to, hey, this individual player is playing her best ball too.
We'll hear from Dawn Staley coming up tomorrow night in Carolina Calls at 6 o'clock right here on the game, as she obviously recaps what happened over the weekend in Greenville and looks ahead to the NCAA tournament in a little over a week from now, Selection Sunday. Coming up this week as they'll find out who all is going to be on their side of the bracket as likely the top overall seed. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. More breakdown of what happened in Greenville coming up next here in the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. 107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
All right, it's official, y'all. We can tell you about some new stuff at Firehouse Subs, 15 locations all around the Midlands. Y'all know Firehouse Subs is known for serving their delicious hot subs. They've got the hot sauce bar. They've teamed up with the hottest talk show, Hot Ones, y'all probably seen it on YouTube, to create 2 new subs. They are for a limited time. Wes, the Zesty Garlic Hook and Ladder, that's the milder of the 2 subs. Hot Ones, garlic Fresno hot sauce, crispy garlic chips, and Fresno marinated onions. And what do you think of this one? Spicy dill hook and ladder? That's the hotter one.
Yeah, but you know me and pickles, so I don't know. By the way, Chris, it does say individuals sensitive to spice or the Carolina Reaper pepper should not consume the spicy dill hook and ladder. So you've been warned. You've been warned.
Last Dab Reaper hot sauce on the spicy dill hook and ladder. Check it out, firehousesubs.com. Go to the app you can order. Use the Rapid Rescue to go. That's the Hot Ones, new subs at Firehouse Subs.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive. Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile. Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Clark. Garnet Trust is hoping to build the best and most sustainable NIL program in the country. To find out how you can get involved, go on over to garnettrust.com. You can support Gamecock athletes there, get access to exclusive content, and help Garnet Trust build the best NIL program in the country.
Thinking about investing in a hot tub? Great idea. Hot tubs offer relaxing hydrotherapy for tired muscles and stressed minds. But beware, all spas are not the same. At Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, we offer hot spring and free flow spas exclusively for their quality, energy efficiency, and affordability. And we have everything to keep your spa and pool sparkling, clean, and crystal clear. Come see it all at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, Forest Drive, and JackOliverPools.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon, Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Enjoy up to 70% off premium products, designer handbags, gift cards from national chains, autographed sports memorabilia, cruises, hotel accommodations, and more. SweetDeals.com. Click Premium.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
We don't need a coin flip for this one. There can be only one. For the third year in a row and ninth time in 11 years, the South Carolina Gamecocks are SEC tournament champions. Spurs up, horns down. South Carolina knocks off number one Texas, 64-45 to take the title as the confetti will fall here in Greenville.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. The always excited Brad Mullen, the call yesterday at Bon Scores Wellness Arena. South Carolina does take the third straight SEC Women's Tournament crown, ninth in Dawn Staley's tenure here at Carolina over a Texas team that I think, can we call this the new rivalry of the SEC? You know, the LSU thing isn't a rivalry because they can't beat Carolina, but Texas did beat Carolina in Austin. Carolina wins the rubber match, could have a 4-3 match, potentially in a Final Four coming up. So Vic Schaefer comes in with a very good Texas squad, of course, very familiar with him from his time at Mississippi State, and this might have jumped to the top of the list of the premier rivalry in the SEC now.
Well, there's some Texas fan wholly offended that Brad busted out the horns down at the end of that.
Well, of course.
I mean,
tweet that clip at every Texas fan that you know.
I feel like it could be a budding rivalry. I don't think we're there yet.
It's got the makings of it.
It's got the makings.
Because they're going to see each other a lot over the years.
But because, and I think there has to be a little bit of bad blood before it like really ignites it. You know.
You also have the Vic Dawn history too, from when he was at Mississippi State.
Yes,
I'm not saying there's a negative history. I'm just saying there's a history.
Yeah, they've seen each other a lot. Yeah. Dawn's gotten the better.
Dawn keeps getting the better of him in postseason.
It's probably negative for him,
but he has won this year.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's not a complete domination. Yeah. They did get a lick. Carolina got it back.
Yeah.
Burgeoning rivalry.
Well, and I think these are the two Are these the two best programs? I mean, we know South Carolina is, but is Texas the second best program? I know they're the second best team right now. Would you say they're the second best program in the SEC right now? LSU probably has a...
Yeah.
I mean, LSU just won the title 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so.
no, you make a strong argument for both, but right now I'd say Texas is probably
the
number
best
2.
team, certainly. Second best team.
Second best team, certainly. And again, give credit to them because they came into the first year in the SEC, an already tough league, and were able to get themselves to the top and being able to compete with South Carolina and obviously get the win in Austin a couple weeks ago. And that's not an easy thing to do. And Vic Schaefer, rightfully so, won SEC Coach of the Year, and Madison Booker, Player of the Year in the SEC that Carolina was able to stifle in 2 out of the 3 matchups. So, they came in and made a statement in year number 1. And again, this is a team and a coach that you're going to have to deal with time and time again if you want to continue to win these conference tournaments and obviously pursue a national championship if you're Dawn Staley.
I may take us slightly off the rails here. What did y'all think of Vic's comments, his repeated comments about Greenville?
Would you like to hear his comments about Greenville real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
This was him Saturday night after beating LSU, squaring up against South Carolina on Sunday in, again, a game that's only a couple of hours up the road here from Columbia.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a home game, obviously. There'll be a great crowd tomorrow, and it'll be a great environment, for college basketball. There'll be a lot of people hollering for them. But we've got a great Longhorn contingent here. I'm really proud of our fans that have traveled, and but it is, I think more than that, that's certainly a part of it, but you're playing a great team.
And Dawn yesterday in her postgame was asked about it, and she said, yeah, it's advantageous that we play pretty close to home and our fans travel really well, and you saw a good contingent of Garnet in the stands, in addition to a fair amount of Barn Orange as well. I don't put Vic Schaefer saying that in the same category as like Kim Mulkey or Kenny Brooks complaining about the McDonald's All-American thing. Like, yeah, is it an excuse to a degree? Sure, but I don't think he's whining about it necessarily, if that makes sense.
Didn't he bring it up again yesterday?
He brought it up
again yesterday. Yeah. But I don't think it's the same crutch as what the other coaches were using, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear the tone of what he said yesterday. I've seen the quotes, but
yeah. When you're playing South Carolina on their home floor in front of their fans, it's a road game. Got to be able to respond when they make a run.
But at the same time, it wasn't the reason why Carolina dominated them defensively. It wasn't because they were playing in front of mainly South Carolina fans. They just played the better game.
Oh, we know that. But is he, Chris, do you think he's planting a seed for this thing should not be in Greenville?
This game, playing South Carolina here in South Carolina, in Greenville, it's tough to win. They're already really good. Yeah, I mean, that's what I kept going back to is like if this game was in Austin, which is a cool city,
sure,
and certainly could host
or Dallas or something
like that. Yeah.
Houston.
Yeah, Dallas is probably a better,
Sure.
But if it was like in Dallas, would he bring up repeatedly? This was like a home game for us. The home crowd, maybe.
So I don't care what he said right there. I think he was just talking factual. So later on though, he was actually asked, and he said, obviously Greenville loves having us and does a great job. I think you have to look beyond that when you start seeing it. I don't know what that means. Obviously they're a really good team. It's not enough dealing with them when you play them at home or you play them on a neutral floor. When you have to play them here 2 hours from campus, it's a distinct advantage. If we're worried about or talking about a student-athlete experience, again, we all love being here. It's a great experience, but they're having a better experience right now.
But I think at the same time, because this has been the best program in college basketball for a while, they're going to travel wherever. If this was in Atlanta, if this was in Nashville, you're still probably dealing with the majority of a South Carolina crowd in the championship game.
Unless it's in Dallas.
Unless it's in Dallas. So
and
again,
he probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, right. Like I don't think changing the venue necessarily changes the crowd dynamic by a whole lot outside of maybe playing in Texas. And again, I don't put it quite in the same category as Mulkey or Brooks, complaining about the McDonald's All-American thing. But I guess this is something to keep a watch on because if he keeps bringing it up over the years, because Greenville's going to be hosting it for the next handful of years, just sign an extension with that, then maybe we kind of bump that up more into the category of whining as the years go by.
Yeah, I've been in the league where it's been all over. I think we were in Tampa one year. We've been in Nashville. We've been somewhere else. I've seen it all. We were in Little Rock when I was at Mississippi State. We've tried it everywhere. Now, he does admit, I think the reason we keep coming back here is Greenville just does a tremendous job. This arena does a tremendous job. Till you can find another place. Here's what goes against his entire argument. And until you can find another place that does the job that Greenville does, I think that's why we keep coming back here. As long as it's being packed out, as long as fans are having a good time, then, I mean, would you rather it be in Greenville? And yes, it does end up becoming a de facto home game for South Carolina. Or would you rather go somewhere where it's half full and you don't have an atmosphere?
Yeah, the reason South Carolina being in the tournament and being in Greenville is the primary reason it's packed out.
Here's the thing. When you are a blue blood, what South Carolina now is for women's basketball, there are always going to be built-in advantages that just pop up, right? Sure. I mean, Georgia gets to play the SEC football championship in their home state.
Yep.
So when you're a blue blood, there are advantages for UNC and Duke in men's basketball. Like that's just how it happens when you are sort of the one that sets the standard for everyone else. So I think in a weird way, if Texas wants to find an advantage but I don't think they're ever going to play the thing in Texas because it's so out of the way for everybody else. But still, when you're kind of running the show, you get a little bit extra say, I think.
Well, if you want something more neutral, if things go the way we think they're going to go with all these teams, they might rematch in a month in Tampa in the Final Four. Then we'll see who has the bigger crowd then.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But again, another great weekend for South Carolina women's basketball, claiming another SEC tournament crown. Good weekend for baseball as well, taking 3 games from Morehead State. We'll dive into that coming up next. Let's hear what Palminteri had to say as we get closer to South Carolina starting SEC play against Oklahoma this upcoming weekend. Is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs, Tyra West and Chris on your Monday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of GE appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Jeffers McGill offers the best customer service and lowest price on every GE make and model, including GE Profile, Monogram, and Cafe brands. Jeffers McGill and GE, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Do you have gold you don't need? Are you looking to get cash? At Traditions Fine Jewelers, it only takes a few minutes for us to check, but you'll be amazed at what cash it brings. Did you know if you had gold the size and weight of a quarter, you would generate $125 in 10 karat or $175 in 14 karat? Want to trade your gold? That same quarter would generate $204 in 10 karat or $286 in 14 karat. Traditions Fine Jewelers, 5134 Sunset Boulevard in Lexington or at the Village at Sand Hills. Traditions Fine Jewelers, always giving you more for your gold.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
At Atkins Law, we are proud alumni of USC. Since graduating, our attorneys continue to be proud supporters of Gamecock sports.
And we understand that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that breeds excellence on the court. Extensive preparation, teamwork, loyalty, all of those things we put into practice every day.
Remember, if you've been hurt on the job, who you hire matters. Call us at 803-251-6406 or find out more at hollyatkinslaw.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
Looking for a tow that won't drive you insane? Schroeder's Towing has got your back and then some. With almost 1,500 Google reviews and a near 5-star rating, Schroeder's Towing is practically the most respected hookers in town. Whether you're stuck on the side of the road or just need a lift, our reliable service is always ready to roll. Call Schroeder's Towing today.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
I know I got good taste, and when I'm in the mood to show it off, you already know I'm going to McDonald's. And with the Mix and Match deal, showing off has never tasted better. I can choose from the classics like the iconic Big Mac, juicy 10-piece chicken McNuggets, or my absolute favorite, the crispy Filet-O-Fish. Choose any two for just $6. What you waiting for? Head over to McDonald's and show off your good taste. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
At Progressive, we're making things even easier. We'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you could save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
You're talking about, sponsored by Love Chevrolet on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Obviously, if you dwell on the positives, it was unbelievable pitching for us. If you dwell on the negatives, we didn't swing the bats very well at all today. But, we found a way to win the close one, and at the end of the day, this guy sitting next to me, Tyler Pitzer, rose to the occasion, gave us a chance to win. Sweeney made it interesting, as he typically does, but then got the last out before they tied the game, which is what closers are supposed to do. So we won the ball game, and we're going to go ahead and take it home and before somebody can take it away from us.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris, along with you. That was voice of Paul Maneri recapping game number 3 against Morehead State for his baseball team yesterday, which, considering how the first 2 games went, was a bit of an anomaly. 45 runs combined between Saturday and Friday, and then just 1 yesterday in the pitcher's duel, as both teams are pretty exhausted from swinging the bat so much in those first 2 games. But at the end of the day, like you said, you win all 3, which is what you wanted to do. We talked about it coming away from the Clemson series the prior weekend. Just handle your business in the midweeks against Davidson and Citadel, against Morehead State, one more midweek against Georgia State on Wednesday before you get in to the onslaught of conference play, starting off with a ranked Oklahoma team coming into Founders Park this weekend, and obviously on from there for the next basically 2 months leading up to the end of the regular season. But again, a lot of good things, some questionable things this weekend, but at the end of the day, you won all 3 against Morehead State.
You got to love the subtle humor from pretty much every press conference of Paul Maneri's, as he typically does, but he got out of it talking about Sweeney there at the end. But, yeah, I think, this was your sort of latest example of, hey, that's baseball, that you can have an absolute slugfest on Saturday and then a 1-0 pitcher's duel on Sunday. And, sometimes it's going to go like that. And so I know Maneri mentioned he wants to possibly look at their pregame a little bit, maybe on Sunday, maybe do a little bit less. And, he said the bats just looked slow a little bit on Sunday. So, and that's after a day where you had pretty much an offensive explosion the day before. So I don't know. We're still learning about this team, right? I don't know really what to expect going into SEC play. I do know this, though. The guy that, because you always have this, maybe you have roles going in, and then there's somebody that steps up and just starts playing better as the real season gets going. And I would say in terms of position players, got to mention Jordan Carrion. he's sort of just plugged in and played very well. And then in terms of pitchers, I think they're going to have to find a spot for Brandon Stone as a weekend starter.
Yep.
1.93 ERA on 5 appearances in 18 innings, and just has been really, really good for you. And it's been he's come in and kind of saved you in some situations. And so I think, I would imagine this is not coming for information. This is just my guess. My guess is you take a pretty early look at doing that.
Well, especially considering the fact that Becker struggled in his past 2 starts once again on Friday, and Stone's had to come in, like I said, kind of save the day. And I don't think got away from Stone a little bit in that last inning that he pitched, but before that, pretty much a solid 5 innings of work before turning things over to Pitzer, as Maneri said, who was able to lock things down on Friday as well as on Sunday too, to continue with what's been a very strong bullpen showing. But again, Brandon Stone, phenomenal in this long relief that you've been asked him to do these past couple of games, and again, makes a very strong case for maybe being one of your weekend starters going forward.
Yeah, that's kind of the question, right? It's like, if a guy is thriving in a role, do you leave him in that role, or do you make that move to, hey, let's switch things up, let's make him a starter? And probably understanding that it doesn't seem to me, I could be wrong on this, doesn't seem to me like you put in Brandon Stone and say, all right, he's going 8 innings, which, I mean, if you get 8 innings out of a starter anyway, that's incredible. Do you flip-flop kind of the roles for him and Becker? Maybe so. But, I think you're right, Wes. Carrion, he had a good weekend. He's come along. KJ Scobie is now hitting above 300. He's come along.
Kazmar's continuing to hit well.
Kazmar's coming along. Bo Hollins, has been good when he's been plugged in there. Petrie's doing, the only reason we know that ball that Petrie hit came down is because it hit the stands at like 120 miles an hour.
Yep.
And bounced. But he absolutely smoked that. So he's, I think he does Petrie things. He's going to do that. He absolutely smashed that ball. So I think I like the way you put it, Wes. You are learning more about this team, and wasn't always pretty this weekend. Saturday, you had to come from behind. Sunday, you got in the pitcher's duel. You're sitting there going, why can't we score against Morehead State? They did. They won the game. You take it, right? And so the only blemish that you have so far is the series to a really good Clemson team, but you've been able to hold serve other than that, in the midst of having still, I think, a lot to figure out about this team.
And not to look at silver linings, but Maneri brought this up after getting swept by Clemson, like, hey, all these games were tight going into the 8th inning. A couple of them got away from you, obviously. They're at the very end, but it's not like you were getting run rolled. And again, what you are in the middle of March, or early March in that instance, is not where you're going to be in mid to late May. So again, how to use that as learning opportunity. Again, a very talented and good Georgia State team you're going to face in the midweek before taking on Oklahoma, start off SEC play at home this upcoming weekend, and then we're going to really see what this team is. And again, nobody goes undefeated in SEC play. Going 500 or around 500 is enough to get you in the dance. Again, I think we're just all kind of itching to see this team week in and week out take on the best of the best in the SEC.
Let's give a shout-out to Evan Stone as well.
Oh, grand slam, baby.
Had a grand slam this weekend. Had a big day in the midweek as well down at Charleston. And, just from everything I've heard, a great dude, a local kid, grew up dreaming to be a Gamecock guy. So got to be happy for Evan. Great weekend for him to be able to impact this team. We've always known he's a great defender, but for him to be able to help a little bit at the plate and have a big week is pretty awesome for him. A couple of other guys I circle that got to find a way, in my opinion, to get like a Blake Jackson going. I mean, he was someone that I feel like he can do so many different things in terms of get on base, put the bat on the ball. He can run a little bit. He's another lefty bat for you. He's just not got going this year. I think they got to get him going. And then can you get some offensive production from the catcher position? We saw LeCroy, and we know he's been dealing with an injury. We saw him get back in there on Sunday. But you look at that spot, you've had so many different guys play now. Obviously, we know Gavin Braylon got banged up. But that position right now, Braylon hitting 167, Coffer 158, Ryan Bakes 125, Tal LeCroy 107. Can you get something at the plate? I know that's not the most important thing from a catcher. You care probably about defense first, but you don't want that spot to be a black hole at the plate either. So can you find some production there? But for the most part, like we said, you are starting to get some production from other parts of the lineup. Sunday, I mean, again, I don't put a ton of stock in Sunday, just like I don't put all the stock in the world in Saturday in terms of, you average those things out. That's kind of how baseball works. Some days you're scoring 16, some days you're scoring 1.
Yeah.
You're not, even if you average 8 runs a game, you typically don't just score 8 runs every game. It's usually an up and a down.
And Maneri pointed out, by the benefit of the detriment to scoring so many runs is you kind of hurt Jake McCoy in the process because he was having a pretty solid first couple of innings there, and then you had the bottom of the third, which lasted like 45 minutes, and he admitted that Jake McCoy opted not to throw and keep warm, went out there in the next inning and kind of got knocked around a little bit. So, if you had, I don't know, scored half the runs and been on the field for half the time in the bottom of the third, maybe McCoy goes a little bit longer and doesn't give up as many runs to Moorhead on Saturday, and that game's not as wild as it ends up being. But again, that's kind of the ebbs and flows of baseball, and again, at the end of the day, like you said, you won all 3 games, and that's what matters the most.
You're also putting in, when you have a big lead, you're putting in pitchers, you're managing the game differently than you would have if it was a 1-run game. So, again, I don't put – you talk about it. It's worth talking about, but I don't put big picture stock really in either one of those games too much one way or the other.
Yeah, and again, back in action coming up on Wednesday, taking on Georgia State at 6:30. Premium coverage starting at 6:15 right here on the game. Also, a reminder, the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Just mentioned Evan Stone hitting that one over the weekend, which means somebody's going to win $275. Tomorrow morning, Bill and Preston will announce the winner live on the air during the early game, and then that pot resets $25 starting with Wednesday's game against Georgia State. If you've not already, go online to 1075thegame.com and register for your chance to win the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Baseball is not the only Diamond Sport in action this weekend. Softball taking on the dynasty that was Oklahoma. We'll talk about that a little bit more to wrap up today's edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs. Up next here on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
This is Maggie Gray with the Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The Pittsburgh Steelers are confusing me. The team traded for DK Metcalf, which is great. They've been desperate for another playmaker for years now, but we have no idea who's going to be throwing to him. Reports are that Pittsburgh is interested in Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, and now Aaron Rodgers. Fields all over the map, and none of those quarterbacks makes the Steelers Super Bowl contenders. I'm Maggie Gray.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-990-1551. That's 800-990-1551.
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go, but I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there, providing hot meals, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
To learn more, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Honey!
What's wrong? I thought you already left for work.
The garage door is broken. It won't open and I can't get my car out. I can't miss this meeting today. Everyone is coming in for it.
Relax. I'm texting OGD right now.
What is OGD?
OGD, Overhead Garage Door. They're the garage door experts in Columbia. Take my car in the driveway and OGD will handle the garage. They have same-day service and they'll get the garage door fixed today, fast and easy.
Wait, with just one text you can get our garage door fixed same day by OGD?
Yes, OGD will get it done no problem. Now, you need to get to work and let OGD worry about the garage door.
Garage door broken, stuck, slow, or squeaky? Text OGD, the only name you need for your garage door. Text TIGHT to 200-300 right now. Text right now and get an exclusive link to special limited time savings. Don't wait. Text the word TIGHT to 200-300 now. Text TIGHT to 200-300.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris, along with you here on The Game. Obviously, a big weekend for women's basketball, picking up the SEC tournament crown once again. Big weekend for baseball, completing the sweep of Morehead State. Also a huge weekend for Gamecock softball. As we talked about going into the weekend, we knew they were going to have their toughest test so far, maybe the toughest test the entire season, going on the road to open up conference play against the dynasty that is the Oklahoma Sooners. Unfortunately, they did come out on the losing end of all three of those games, but if you're going to lose against the best of the best, having one-run games in all three of those, it's about as good as you can ask for, and certainly gives you a lot of confidence coming away from that for what Ashley Chastain Woodard's team's going to be this year.
Yeah, not to go all, moral victory on the thing, but God, guys, they competed. They were right there. This is probably, I would say, at least on paper, the toughest series you're going to have all year long. Not that you're not going to have a bunch of other tough ones, because you are, but I feel like you should probably feel as good as you possibly can after a 3-game sweep. I mean, not that you ever feel great about that, but just to go out there, compete in every single game, that was not a fluke. You're not in one-run games all weekend long if it's a fluke. And so that program is kind of the standard for softball. And, I look at it, how do other teams feel when they're trying to sort of live up to what Dawn Staley is doing in women's basketball? And so to me, this was the roles being reversed. South Carolina trying to go out there and prove they belong with Oklahoma. They certainly belonged. And, of course, from a standing standpoint, you really would have hoped you could have just gotten one of them, because digging out of that 0-3 hole is tough. But the other teams are going to have to deal with Oklahoma too. And now, you know that you can go play with the very best in their place. Great environment. You had to play 2 games on one day on Sunday. Lots of, I would say, chips kind of stacked against you, and you hung in there. So I'm very excited to still see where this team goes, and I don't really think I don't think this is going to affect them mentally in a bad way.
Yeah, it was tough not to just get one of them. That was kind of seeing some of the reaction from Gamecock fans on social, on the Insiders Forum, on Gamecock Central afterwards. It was like, you lose that first one, 10-9, exact same score the next day, but it's like, get one. If you can get one, you would have loved to do that. But, guys, I don't even know in past years, just to be honest, you would normally look at a trip like that, and I know Oklahoma, it's their first season in the SEC, but if you played like an out-of-conference series against them in the past, on the road in Norman against Oklahoma, which is, I believe, won, 4 straight national championships?
Yep.
You go, all right, this, it's kind of a lost cause, Sure. Just no team's going to actually approach that, but if you're just looking at it analytically, this time I think you're going in, here's the only 2 undefeated teams in the country. It's going to be a big test for both teams. And South Carolina didn't pass the test from the standpoint of winning the series or even winning a game, but they belonged 100%, to where you could look at it and go, Game 3 was a walk-off. Maybe if South Carolina bats last, if one of the games was a little longer, if one was a little shorter, and that's how close they were. It was a lot of runs scored, a lot of homers, a lot of big moments, and Oklahoma just made a few more plays, but they absolutely looked like they belonged.
And I go back to the last time we talked to Coach Chastain Woodard, it was a week and a half ago now, and, she was honest. She says, hey, look, nobody goes undefeated. Losses are going to come. How do you respond to those losses is how we're going to, be successful going forward. And again, ideally, you liked would have taken maybe at least one of those wins, especially with how close they are. But no shame in hanging your head coming away from this weekend. You obviously have the talent to stay toe-to-toe with the best of the best in Oklahoma, and a lot of softball to be played now and towards the end of the regular season. You're likely going to see them in a postseason tournament, SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament at some point if you do get that far. And again, a good litmus test for where this program is, and excited to see what the rest of this regular season is going to be like for them.
Yeah, and I think just the bats, like you prove you have a lineup, and that was one thing. And I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I kind of got the impression coming in when we go back to when we started to learn about this team way before the season started, when Ashley Chastain first got to South Carolina. I thought that was the question, is sort of, all right, do they have enough firepower in this lineup, even with the Charlotte transfers? And, man, they're proven like top to bottom. When you look at the development of, you look at what Brooke Blankenship has done, sort of finding her comfort zone at the plate. You look at Lexi Winters, who is really kind of a defensive specialist at Charlotte, coming in, being a big bat. Nat Heath, like this is a lineup that has some depth to it, has some length to it, to where almost every spot in the order can hurt you. And, that was not the case last season. So I think if they can find a little bit more depth, a little bit more consistency in the circle, then they're going to have a chance this year.
Strong outing on the weekend nonetheless, despite the 3 losses, and excited to see this team as the regular season rolls on. That'll do it for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Halftime show with myself, Terry Ford, up next on your Monday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
As we close things out here on the show, I want to tell you a little bit more about one of our great partners here on the game. It's Integrated Media. Shout out to Michael and Nathan. They do an amazing job over there. Hey, if you've ever had issues with your Wi-Fi at your home, you're not alone. Most people have. I know I have at my home. Many times, issues with Wi-Fi can be caused by an old router and modem or an aging Wi-Fi network that's not up to today's standards. You can let Integrated Media be your Wi-Fi experts. They can come out and test it during a free in-home consultation. They'll inspect your hardware. They'll run free speed tests at different spots inside and outside your home. They'll also advise you on your service provider. They can recommend, sell, and install your Wi-Fi equipment needed to update your home, and they can let you know who the best service provider in your area is. If you're out on the outskirts of the Midlands, ask Integrated Media about Starlink as well. 803-948-8327, integratedmediainc.com.
Hello, I'm Tom Reek with South Carolina Lumber and Supply in Casey, South Carolina. We specialize in lumber that focuses on the inside of your home.